I traveled back to the day he confessed his love to me. Siaboyan said, "Inin, be my girlfriend, let me take care of you." He kept his word. For the next 8 years, he treated me wonderfully. He was my boyfriend for 6 years, then my husband for 2, nearly becoming a father before it all ended. Tragically, I went into premature labor and died on the operating table along with our child. In my final moments, Siaboyan clutched my hand with bloodshot eyes. He begged, "You can't die, you can't leave me alone. If even you're gone, what am I supposed to do?" Part 1. I thought I was dead, but when I opened my eyes, there he was, Siaboyan, still with that youthful innocence on his face. He said, "Inin, be my girlfriend, let me take care of you." His tone was flat, his expression indifferent, with neither anticipation nor nervousness in his eyes. This didn't feel like a confession, more like he was checking off a task, because he didn't love me. The woman he loves is my sister, and my sister is dying. I'm the only one she can't let go of, so Siaboyan took me, this burden, upon himself, and carried me for 8 long years. Looking at him now, I suddenly remembered what his friend asked during our wedding. Is this really necessary? Her sister's been gone for 5 years. Are you seriously going to throw away your entire life for this? Siaboyan took a drag of his cigarette, exhaling slowly through the haze. "A promise is a promise," he said. "Not a single minute less." That was his vow to my sister. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of Inin for the rest of my life." I let out a long sigh. In my past life, I lived exactly as everyone expected me to. Given a second chance, things should be different this time. "Boyan, it's really not necessary. I can take care of myself. No need to trouble you." Siaboyan seemed taken aback by my refusal. His brows knitted tightly as he fixed me with a heavy gaze. "Inin." He was about to say something when I cut him off. "Boyan, I'm going to see my sister. Are you coming?" Siaboyan rubbed his thumb against his middle finger, a telltale sign of his nicotine craving. "You go ahead, I'll catch up later." 2. I'm 18 now, just starting my final year of high school. The national college entrance exam is less than a year away. In my past life, I missed the gaokao. My sister passed away 3 months before my college entrance exams. My mother hysterically tore up all my textbooks. "Have you no heart? With Juan gone, how can you still focus on studying? Why are you still alive when Juan is already gone?" During the college entrance exam days, she locked me inside the house. She said, "All Juan's greatest regret in life was missing the gaokao. Since you can't do anything for her now, don't make her grieve from heaven too." Truth be told, I thought she wanted me dead at that time. Not only did she lock me in, but she also deprived me of food and water. In the end, Siaboyan barged in and took me away. To be honest, I wasn't ready to face them again, so I hid in the corner until my mother left my sister's hospital room before going in. Siaboyan was inside. His face darkened when he saw me. "Where have you been? Why are you so late?" I ignored him, staring intently at my sister instead. A surge of warmth rose from my chest, reaching all the way to my eyes. 7 years, I've missed her so much. She gave Siaboyan a light tap and pouted. "What's with the attitude?" Then she waved at me. "Come here, Inin, Inin, come here. Big sister's got candy for you. Inin, come over, let me tell you a story. Come here, Inin, don't be scared. Big sister's got you. Inin, come here, let me give you a hug." "Oh Inin, if I leave, what will become of my precious girl?" I hurried over and knelt by her bedside. I reached out and gently wrapped my arms around her slender waist. I buried my face in her lap. Tears finally spilled uncontrollably down my cheeks. I sobbed quietly, as if overwhelmed by some profound injustice. "What's wrong, Inin? Who's been mean to you? Don't cry, Inin. Tell me what happened. Don't be scared, Inin. I'm right here with you." 3. My name is Fong Yin, given by my sister, like lush green grass. It symbolizes vitality. My sister is named Fong Wan, and I exist for her sake. My sister was diagnosed with leukemia at age 6. In our country, over 1 million blood disease patients await hematopoietic stem cell transplants annually, yet only 0.3% receive treatment each year. Fong Wan wasn't among them. As a last resort, doctors suggested the parents conceive another child to use the newborn's cord blood for bone marrow matching. The doctor said, "The matching success rate is very high." While the doctor said very high, to the parents it sounded like absolute certainty. They made this choice without hesitation. After 10 months of pregnancy and the pains of childbirth, the one who came into this world was me. Everyone was waiting with bated breath, hearts pounding with anticipation, but the matching failed, making the transplant surgery impossible. a useless child was born. The child born for Feng Wan was worthless. In utter despair, the mother suffered a hemorrhage. Her body was severely damaged and could no longer bear children. Fortunately, a successful stem cell match for Feng Wan was found in the cord blood bank 6 months later. Feng Wan was saved. What a relief, otherwise, her mother would have died. She once said, "If Awan dies, I won't be able to go on living. As for me, just a worthless piece of trash." 18 years ago, my umbilical cord blood was a failed match. 18 years later, my kidney proved incompatible yet again. Uremia. Feng Wan is dying. 4. Her sister kicked Xia Boyan out. She gently pried me from her embrace. Dabbing my tears away, she whispered, "Is this about Boyan? He told me he confessed his feelings. But you turned him down. Enin, don't you want Boyan to take care of you? You know Boyan would treat you right." "Of course I know. In this world, when danger strikes, Xia Boyan is the only one who'd shield me without hesitation. He's been picking me up from school since elementary, rain or shine, even if he was late or skipping class himself. He'd never leave me behind. He'd throw punches for me. He'd tell everyone, 'She's my sister, nobody touches her.' When I fell, he carried me on his back. When I got sick, he took care of me. I was hungry, so he cooked for me. He even explained menstruation to me when I had my first period. Once when he was drunk, he poked my forehead and grumbled, 'Damn, I got myself a kid without even trying.' He said, 'Feng Yin, I raised you with my own hands.' Xia Boyan raised me. I know his kindness wasn't just because of Feng Wan's request. He genuinely treats me like a little sister. Boyan is family. Sis, I love having him as my big brother." My sister gave me a complicated look. "Enin, I can't take care of you forever. Only your life partner can do that." I averted my gaze and lowered my head. "But, he's my brother." After a long silence, my sister sighed. "Ah, I was being too hasty." "Never mind, you two can take your time. He'll always take good care of you." I murmured a vague acknowledgement. "Sis, can I come see you every day?" Her eyes lit up briefly before dimming again. "Don't trouble yourself. Just focus on your studies." My parents didn't want me appearing in front of my sister too often. Mother said, "What are you going there for? To upset Wan? Do you think seeing you healthy and active would make her happy?" My sister said she was happy and wanted to see me, but our parents wouldn't believe it. They stubbornly insisted that every time my sister stood up for me, she was actually sacrificing her own happiness. They wouldn't tolerate Feng Wan suffering any injustice because of Feng Yin. "Oh dear, these grades of yours." She poked my forehead. "Little one, do you even stand a chance at college?" "My grades aren't great, to be honest. They're pretty bad, at least on the surface." I hunched my shoulders and asked with a grin, "Sis, which college do you want me to go to?" She blurted out without thinking, "The best one." Of course, realizing what she'd said, she quickly backtracked. "Just do your best, no pressure. We'll go with whatever school you can get into." Mid-conversation, the hospital room door suddenly swung open behind us. Awan, that voice, both familiar and foreign, came rushing in. Familiar because it was Mother's voice. It felt unfamiliar because I hadn't heard it in 6 years. Mother kept her promise. She couldn't live without Feng Wan. She held on for a year before ending her life with pesticide. I was completely at a loss when I heard the news. I didn't know how to process this emotionally. Perhaps she was only ever Feng Wan's mother, nothing more. She walked right past me as if I were invisible. She hurried over to adjust the hospital bed's height. Lowering her voice gently, she said, "Why are you sitting up? Lie down and rest. Aren't you tired?" Her sister sighed helplessly. "Mom, I'm fine. Didn't you go home to cook? Why are you back so soon?" Her mother replied, "Your father called and said he'd bring it over." "Is Dad back from his business trip?" "Yeah, he said he brought you a present." "That's great. Enin happens to be here too. Our whole family." Mom cut her off. She said quietly, "Boyan, thank you for visiting Awan, but she needs rest now. You should head back first." Not once did her gaze meet mine the entire time. I thought I'd grown accustomed to it, yet this time, the air felt suffocating. I stood frozen in place until a large hand enveloped my clenched fist. "It's Xia Boyan," he said. "Auntie, I'm taking Enin home." I've known since childhood that my parents didn't like me. Even before realizing my parents didn't like me, I knew my grandparents didn't either. Perhaps because I'd never been loved since childhood, I returned to them without any expectations. My mother had many demands for me, like not being allowed to wear pretty or colorful clothes. For instance, no snacks are allowed besides staple food, like never being permitted to smile, such as being forbidden to excel in studies. as sisters born of the same mother. While Fangwan suffers in sickness, Fangyin mustn't thrive, lest it deepen Fangwan's sorrow. What's wrong with you today? Xia Boyan studied me intently. I shook my head. Brother Boyan, can I move in with you? Ever since Xia Boyan graduated and started working, he'd been renting his own place. He did offer to let me stay with him before, but I turned him down. I can just imagine what they'd say if I moved out. But this time, no matter what they say, I have to move out. Xia Boyan froze for a moment. He asked in a low voice, Fan Yin, what exactly happened? Who's been giving you trouble? I shook my head impressed. Is that not allowed? Xia Boyan remained silent for a long moment before finally sighing. He nudged me forward. Come on, let's go move your things. Though we called it moving, I didn't have much, just some books and a few changes of clothes. Xia Boyan's brow remained furrowed from the moment we started packing. When we finally left, he snapped impatiently, let's go to the mall. This time I didn't refuse. Thanks, Boyan. His expression softened at last. Come on, let's get our eating some pretty clothes. Xia Boyan was in high spirits. He took me clothes shopping, treated me to Korean barbecue, then stocked me up with snacks and daily necessities at the supermarket. It's been so long since I last felt this comfortable around him. In our past life, he confessed his feelings and I said yes, but after that, things were never the same between us. The shift in our relationship left us awkward and unsure how to act, dragging through an uncomfortable stretch of time. So after all, he was meant to be my brother. 6. The next day, I went to the hospital wearing the dress Xia Boyan bought for me. My sister looked at me in astonishment, her eyes holding an expression I'd never seen before. Beautiful. Our Enin looks absolutely stunning. Xia Boyan bought this for you. The man's got taste. My sister held my hand as she carefully retrieved a box of chocolates from beneath the pillow. Just like in my past life. Enin, try this. People say it's the best chocolate. I never got to taste it last time. My parents' teachings made me never dare to eat anything in front of my sister, so in my past life, I brought it home. My mother found out. She slapped me through tears. Fan Yin, is this food worth dying for? Making Alwan lie to dad for your snacks. Do you realize this box of chocolate costs as much as Alwan's dialysis treatment? Thinking back on those days, I don't feel particularly emotional. I unwrapped a piece of chocolate and popped it into my mouth, sweet with a hint of bitterness. Rich and smooth, I nodded with a smile. Delicious. My sister's eyes crinkled with amusement. Leave it with Boyan, and ask him whenever you want some. I'd rather leave it with you, I said. But, sis, I want to drop out of school. My sister stared at me in shock. What did you say? Did something happen at school? I shook my head. I want to stay at the hospital with you, then you can come after school. Not enough. My sister seemed to have an idea. She looked at me sadly. Enin, you need to follow your own path, study hard, get into college, and leave this household. With a strained smile, she added, Mom and Dad will take care of me here. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I insisted. I'm only taking half a year off. I'll study on my own and take the college entrance exam. Smiling, I said, I'll come back as the top scorer for you. Okay. My sister wasn't smiling. Her expression was grave. Enin, what's really going on with you? You're making me so worried. These past 2 days, all I've been hearing is, what's wrong with you? I lowered my eyes. I just don't think I'm wrong. I want to be with you, to see you every day, to take care of you. My sister fell silent. After a long pause, she took my hand and said firmly, all right. We'll be together every day. 7. Mom arrived sooner than we expected. Her already sour expression darkened further when she saw what I was wearing, but she forced a smile and told my sister, Alwan, go rest first. I need to talk to Fan Yin. My sister held on tight. What's wrong? What happened? It's fine. Don't worry. She turned to me. Fan Yin, come with me. Mom, Enin isn't going anywhere. Whatever you have to say, say it here. 1. Be good. Her tone sharpened. Fan Yin, come with me. Must you disturb your sister's rest? My sister started to speak again, but I gave her hand a gentle squeeze. What did you want to talk about? I asked. Is it about me moving out, visiting my sister, or wearing new clothes? Fan Yin, mother hissed, shacking up with a man at such a young age. Have you no shame? Mom, how could you say that? It's Boyan. He's like a real brother to Enin, a real brother. Mother sneered. Are you blood related? We're not blood related, I said, but I'll be staying there for a while. I've already filed for a leave of absence from school. Starting today, I'll be coming to the hospital daily to take care of my sister. I won't allow this. Mother's voice suddenly sharpened. You move back home this instant and focus on your studies. Juan is still ill. What kind of nonsense are you pulling? Looking at her, I said calmly, I'm not asking for your permission, I'm informing you, Fang Yin. What exactly are you trying to do? Enough, my sister's frail voice cut through sharply, her face deathly pale as she swayed unsteadily. Juan, what's wrong? Mother asked with visible concern, her hands trembling slightly as she looked helplessly at my sister. Mom, I don't have much time left, please let Yining stay with me, just this once, won't you? Mother's eyes welled up. Feng Wan, what nonsense are you saying? Not much time, what are you trying to do? Stab your own mother through the heart, Mom. Please promise me this one thing. Okay, I promise, sweetheart, I'll promise you anything, just don't say such things. I can't bear it, I just can't. After all the commotion, my sister soon fell asleep. Mother gently stroked her forehead before tucking in the blanket corners. She turned her head and glared at me coldly. Fang Yin, you're getting back at me, aren't you? What? I froze, never expecting her to say something like that. You're using Awan to hurt me. Seeing her suffer makes me suffer. Does that make you happy? I suddenly burst out laughing. In my past life, the therapist asked me, do you resent your parents? I shook my head and said no. She asked me why. I said, I understand. To them, my sister was their real child. I was just born to prolong her life, but things didn't go as planned, and I let them down. Nobody's perfect. When extreme hope meets crushing despair, that kind of naturally leads to irrational actions. Everything they did to me afterward was just their deluded way of believing it would help my sister. They never realized it was wrong. I even enthusiastically explained to her, this pattern is actually quite common, like when parents physically punish their kids, once they start, it never stops, and the beatings only get worse. Do you know why? Because in parent-child dynamics, parents hold absolute power. There's no consequence for how they treat their children, no downside. Just results. Why wouldn't they keep doing it? Absolute power means absolute tyranny. They never even knew they were wrong. Back then, the therapist's gaze held nothing but heartache when she looked at me. Later, I overheard her telling Xia Boyan over the phone that I'd chosen emotional detachment under extreme suffering. I didn't agree with that, but looking back now, perhaps I was the one who got it wrong. She accused me of retaliating against her. So she knew her actions would breed resentment in me. It suddenly dawned on me, since we're both reasonable people, we can talk this through rationally. I said, a healthy adult male typically ejaculates 2 to 6 milliliters of semen, containing over 60 million sperm per milliliter. That means each ejaculation releases 120 to 360 million sperm, with over 60% being motile, approximately 72 to 216 million. Taking the median, that's about 150 million viable sperm. A healthy adult female typically releases 1 egg per cycle, occasionally 2 or 3, taking the average, let's say 2 eggs. Under these circumstances, the probability of any single sperm fertilizing an egg is about 1 in 75 million. What nonsense are you spouting? My mother interrupted. I continued, of course, that's an ideal scenario. What I'm trying to say is, if I had been conceived even a day earlier or later, a minute earlier or later, or if it had been a different sperm and a different egg that combined, I simply wouldn't be me. Being born to you wasn't my choice, my genetic makeup was given to me by you, it was the result of your sperm and egg combining against 1,000,000 to 1 odds. I am innocent, the blame does not fall on me. 8. My sister's leukemia relapsed when I was 8, she was rushed into the emergency room, and my mother knelt, praying. I just huddled, trembling, in a corner. My father held my mother close as she sobbed uncontrollably. Why was it her? If only it had been any other child, Awan wouldn't have suffered like this. Why her? Why did it have to be her? She's just God's way of tormenting us, isn't she? Why does everyone else's cord blood work, but hers doesn't? Why did I have to give birth to her? That was the first time I had ever faced my mother's hatred so directly. Even though I was used to their coldness, I still felt a pang of sadness at that moment. Then Xia Boyan arrived. He covered my ears and pulled me into his embrace. His warm hug melted the chill that had settled in my bones. He whispered, Inin, don't listen, I'm here with you. 9. My defiance seemed to have deeply shaken my mother. Eventually we reached a compromise. I'd visit my sister daily, but at different times than her. She agreed. None of us want to see our sister caught in the middle of our conflict. As for me and them, some differences are simply irreconcilable. After leaving the hospital, I went back to my rented apartment. Siaboyan hadn't returned yet, so I took some vegetables from the fridge and started cooking dinner. Just as the final dish was ready, the front door swung open from outside. "Boyan, dinner's ready," Siaboyan asked casually while changing his shoes. "Takeout, I cooked it myself." Siaboyan was incredulous. "You can cook? How come I never knew that?" Of course, he wouldn't know. After all, it's a skill I picked up in my previous life. I mumbled vaguely. "I've always been able to." "Alright, let's eat." Siaboyan gently ruffled my hair, a look of tender concern on his face, as if something had just occurred to him. "Alright, let's eat. From now on, if you feel like cooking, go for it. If not, we can always eat out. Got it? Make sure to cook more of what you love. You're a fan of spicy food, aren't you?" "There's not a single spicy dish on this table." I swallowed my food and declared, "Health." Siaboyan chuckled wryly. "How rare to hear those words from you." I smiled without responding. He sighed. "Good then, you need to put on some weight, you're too thin." My life settled into a routine like this. Every morning, I'd get up and go for a run, then bring Siaboyan some breakfast. As for my own, I'd just make it at home. One time, Siaboyan curiously took a bite of mine. His face was a mix of emotions. "Tasty," I replied. "Healthy." He shook his head. I'll never understand what goes through kids' minds these days. After breakfast, I dove straight into practice problems, heading to the hospital in an hour and a half, staying until 12:30 p.m. That's the time slot they've given me. I often bring a book to read to my sister, then take her for a stroll in the garden downstairs. Sometimes I run into familiar doctors, nurses, or other patients. They asked who I was. My sister said, "This is my little sister." "Your sister's so pretty." My sister nodded proudly. "Damn right. I'd leave before Mom brings lunch for my sister at noon." My sister always gets visibly down whenever this happens. She wishes I could get along with our parents harmoniously, but after years of trying, she's come to accept it's beyond her power. I could only comfort her. "I'm not sad at all. Getting to see you every day makes me genuinely happy." I truly mean it. There's not a trace of sadness in me. I cook my own meals now, all my favorite dishes. I eat until I'm full and even take afternoon naps. I said, "See, I'd even put on weight." My sister pinched my cheeks and said, "You've put on some weight and got color in your face now. Looking good." While my sister delighted in my improving health, Siaboyan's expression grew graver by the day. That evening, slightly tipsy from drinking, he stood alone on the balcony smoking. I spotted him when I came out for my bedtime milk. "Boyan, get some rest early. I'm heading in first. Stay right there." He stubbed out his cigarette and waved away the lingering smoke from his clothes. As he walked in, he gave me a scrutinizing look. After a long pause, he said, "Eneen, level with me. What exactly are you trying to do?" His tone made me feel like some villain about to unleash a big move. I asked innocently, "What did I do?" He impatiently tisked, then raised a hand and pushed my forehead. "I raised you myself. I know you better than your own sister. Don't even think about lying to me." I sighed helplessly. "What's wrong with me working out daily, studying hard, and eating properly?" He frowned. "Excellent. These are all things I've always wanted you to achieve, but seeing you accomplish them all so suddenly, it worries me." "Eneen, I'm really worried about you." He was definitely drunk. Otherwise, someone as reserved as him would never say such things when sober. I sighed. "Bro, I'm fine, really. Things couldn't be better right now. I'm happy, genuinely happy every single day." Siaboyan suddenly pulled me into a hug, patting my back just like when we were kids. He said, "Eneen, no matter what happens, tell me immediately." "Okay, got it." 10. The heavens must be the cruelest existence in this world. Just when you think life will continue happily ever after, reality always strikes without warning, shattering that beautiful illusion. My sister was rushed into the emergency room once again. We were just discussing how to knit a scarf when she suddenly collapsed. Mother slapped me across the face when she arrived. She glared at me, demanding, "Fang, what did you do to Awan?" She cursed. "If anything happens to Awan, I'll make you pay." Her movements were so swift that Siaboyan only had time to pull me behind him. He advanced menacingly. I grabbed his arm and shook my head at him. With a grim expression, he brushed his fingers against my cheek. "Does it hurt?" I hissed in pain. It really stung. My mother kept cursing, saying my sister was getting sicker and sicker while I was thriving, asking if I was doing it on purpose. She said I was just getting back at them. She asked why Awan had to suffer instead of me. Her state was clearly off. Siaboyan gave her a fleeting glance and pulled me aside. There was no point in arguing with someone so quick to anger. My father held my mother, not sparing me a glance or a word, while my mother still harbored anger and resentment towards me. My father was far more indifferent. To him, I seemed to be nothing but air. The last time I saw him in my previous life was at the hospital, alcohol poisoning. He wasn't surprised at all to see me. He said, "If anyone calls you about me again, just ignore it. I didn't raise you when you were young. And I don't need you to take care of me in my old age." He remained perfectly lucid, lucidly ignoring me. Siaboyan bought a bottle of ice water for me to put on my face. He comforted me. "It's going to be okay." I nodded, smiling and playing along with him. "Right. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing's going to happen. I know that better than anyone." "Not now." Siaboyan took my hand, prying open my tightly clenched fist. My nails had dug deep into my palm, drawing blood. He said, "Don't force a smile if you don't feel like it. It looks awful." It was as if someone had pricked the balloon of my forced composure. I let out fragmented sobs. "I'm scared, even knowing it's not happening now. I'm still terrified." My sister was successfully resuscitated. She was placed in the ICU, and it took a full 2 weeks before she was transferred to a regular ward. During that time, I was denied visitation rights. My father said, "Don't come, if you can't help, don't make her condition worse." I accepted that. My sister is still unconscious, and there's really nothing I can do to help. There's no need to create unnecessary trouble just to ease my own conscience. She'll be alright, and I've got more important matters to attend to. I'll commit to regular workouts, dedicated studying, and maintaining a healthy diet. Siaboyan grew increasingly withdrawn. The smell of tobacco clung heavier to him, the shadows beneath his eyes deepening. I knew he couldn't sleep. He would always get up in the middle of the night to drink himself numb, just like in his past life. A sense of suffocation gripped everyone. Thankfully, after the storm, the sun came out, and my sister woke up. 11, you were scared, weren't you? My sister asked softly, stroking my hair. I leaned against her bed and shook my head. No, I knew you'd be alright. You've lost weight again, my sister said. Here, have some candy. My sister opened her palm to reveal a fruit drop. Her eyes crinkling with a smile. Dr. Jiang came by for rounds earlier. I asked him for this. My nose tingled with emotion. It was always like this when we were kids. Though she couldn't eat sweets herself, she'd always find ways to coax candy from doctors or nurses, stashing it away just to sneak it to me during visits. "I'm a big kid now," I said, but still took the candy. My sister chuckled. "No matter how old you get, you'll always be my baby." "Did Mom give you a hard time?" she asked. I shook my head. "No, don't worry, she didn't believe a word of it." "Don't hate her. My illness has driven her to the brink of madness. She's not just making things difficult for you, she's making them difficult for everyone, including herself." "I know. It's like she forbids me from eating meat or gaining weight. She wants me to be thin and sickly, as if that's the only way to be worthy of my sister. But the truth is, she treats herself the same way. She absolutely won't touch anything my sister can't eat, and when my sister is on a liquid diet, she barely drinks anything herself. She's like an ascetic." In her words, "Awan is suffering, we can't take her place, but can't we at least be there for her?" My sister fell ill while I was with her, and she would hit me. My sister fell ill while she was with her, and she would hit herself too. She treated everyone unfairly, except for her sister. "I know, don't worry." Just then, Siaboyan arrived. He bought his sister's favorite spider plant. Compared to colorful flowers, his sister preferred lush greenery. My sister looked at him, amused. "How did you get even thinner than Eneen?" I seized the opportunity to tattle. "He doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep." Siaboyan shot me a glare. Am I a god or something? My sister, however, looked conflicted. She opened her mouth, then turned to me. "Eneen, why don't you go play for a bit? I need to talk to your brother Boyan." I nodded and walked out. I knew what they were going to say. His sister must have been comforting him, telling him not to feel guilty or blame himself. I used to think the emotion tormenting him was longing. It was only later that I realized he seemed to have lived a more desperate life during those years. 12. As the weather gradually turned colder, my sister's health was also slowly recovering, yet, our parents' spirits were sinking lower and lower. I've seen them argue with doctors more than once, demanding to know when a suitable kidney source could be found. I've also seen them plead with doctors countless times, begging him to save their daughter. Oddly, my sister seemed to find peace. "The scarf I'm knitting for her is almost finished." She was thrilled. "It'll be perfect for when the weather gets cold." I suddenly blurted out, "Sis, Let's go on a trip when spring arrives and everything's in bloom. A trip, excitement flashed in my sister's eyes. Where to? Where do you want to go? She thought for a moment, then shook her head. I don't know what's good about it. It just seems like everything is good, Siaboyan said. Yunnan, is it beautiful there? It must be, he said, pulling out his phone. Let me check. My sister burst out laughing. Are you serious? Count me out. But you can take Enin. Just send me pictures later. Let's go together. I grabbed her hand. Her smile faded. Mom and Dad won't agree, I said. Then I'll elope with you. My sister gave me a look that said it all. Nonsense. She turned to Siaboyan. Aren't you going to do something about her? Siaboyan looked up. I'm on lookout. We all burst into laughter. The good news arrived on a Thursday, a beautiful day with bright sunshine and a gentle breeze. I was in the middle of solving practice problems when my sister called, choking back tears. She said, Enin, they found a kidney. After the surgery, let's go to Yunnan. Okay, I smiled and said, okay, the timing of this kidney donation couldn't be better. My sister's body is strong enough to handle the surgery, and her condition hasn't deteriorated to the worst-case scenario. Everything happens for a reason. My sister is so happy. She's excitedly talking about all the things she'll do after the surgery, just like a little kid. Her parents watched her with indulgent eyes. For the first time, my presence didn't provoke their harsh words. Siaboyan stood at the back, silent as ever. When my sister finally fell asleep, he took my hand and we left the hospital. He didn't say a word the whole way back. Once we were home, he confronted me. Feng Yin. Whose kidney is that? The one for A1, I sighed helplessly. How should I know? Didn't the doctors say the donor's identity is confidential? He stared at me, his gaze heavy. How did you know? I let out a sigh. I knew I couldn't keep it from him. Know what? That my kidney actually matched my sister's. It really was you. Siaboyan seemed to lose all his strength in an instant. He slumped onto the sofa. Yeah, if you hadn't known beforehand, you definitely would have cried. But today, you've been smiling from beginning to end, as if everything was within your expectations. So all your workouts and healthy eating were just pre-op preparations, is that it? How could I have missed this? Siaboyan let out a mocking laugh. You've really grown up, making such a huge decision without consulting anyone. Feng Yin, you're truly something else, but I won't allow it, and neither will Awan. Then don't tell her. She never needed to know in the first place. Siaboyan looked at me. Feng Yin, do you realize what you're doing? I knew exactly what I was doing. And I could see the fear in Siaboyan's eyes. Just like in our past life, back then, I was already 8 months pregnant. I miss my sister so much. When I saw that old laptop in the storage room and used for years, I just had to try it. I wanted to see if there were any clues about my sister hidden inside. I went through every folder, from the C drive to the D drive, and finally, I actually found something. It looked like it contained some images that Siaboyan had cached from his chats with my sister. There are scenic views, expressive faces, and my sister, with an oxygen tube on her nose. She smiled happily and flashed a peace sign at the camera. The report confirming a successful kidney match was also stored there. It happened so fast, I didn't even realize it. It wasn't until I flipped back 3 or 4 pages that I froze. I quickly scrolled back. I remember that report. I recall the results on that report I saw were inconsistent. It's clearly a mismatch. Why does this one above show as a match? What are you looking at? I've been calling you for ages. Why didn't you answer? Siaboyan walked in. He saw what I saw. I looked at him helplessly, hoping for an answer. His face, filled with terror, was the only answer I needed. So it was true. Why did you lie to me? I could have saved my sister. In the ambulance, I kept whispering to him, why on earth? And that's what I want to ask him now. Why did you and my sister lie to me? I knelt before Siaboyan. He looked at me, then reached out and tucked a stray strand of hair behind my ear. He said, Awan's body was already at its breaking point. A kidney transplant wouldn't have fixed it. Even if you had given her your kidney, it would have been a drop in the ocean. Her entire body was failing. But this is your kidney. It's about your whole life, your long life ahead. Using one of your kidneys to keep her alive for a year or so, we don't think it's worth it. So that's how it is. The knot in my stomach finally loosened. If one of my kidneys could give my sister another 6 months, it would be worth it. If it gave her another year, I'd consider it a bargain. If it gave her 2 more years, I'd be smiling in my sleep. What about you? What will you do? Your health isn't great to begin with. What if something goes wrong during or after the surgery? I'll be fine. My body can handle it. this isn't some shady back alley clinic. If I wasn't fit for surgery, they wouldn't even agree to do it. Starting over, I immediately sought out Dr. Jiang. At first, he denied it, then I threatened to report him. He sighed helplessly. You two sisters really are cut from the same cloth. What happened after that? Xia Boyan asked. Early to bed, early to rise. Watch what you eat, live a healthy life. How great is that? But what if something goes wrong? That's A1 we're talking about. Isn't A1 worth taking that chance? They all think sacrificing one of my kidneys for a year and a half of my sister's life isn't worth it. But that's not how you measure these things. She's my sister, the one who cherished me like gold. If I could have just one more day with her, what wouldn't I give? Xia Boyan was finally convinced by me. I understood. He truly didn't know how to choose. It seemed like every option was wrong. That's why he was so filled with self-blame and guilt after my sister passed away. 13. Tuesday, a light drizzle. The day my sister was scheduled for her kidney transplant, I couldn't go in with her. All I could do was wait for her outside the operating room. Through the privacy curtain, I heard my sister's voice. She asked, /Dr. Jiang. How long will the surgery take? /Dr. Jiang replied, /4 hours at most. It'll be over before you know it. Just get some sleep. There's nothing to be afraid of. She chuckled. I'm not scared. I'm actually quite happy. What are your plans after the surgery? Dr. Jiang inquired. My sister said, we're going to Yunnan for a trip. I promised my younger sister. I closed my eyes contentedly, happy that this life was better than the last. I had a very long dream. I dreamt of the first time I met my sister. I was 4 years old then. My life was dull, seemingly devoid of color, before I met her, until she handed me a pack of candies. They came in colorful wrappers, different flavors, sweet and delightful, a sweetness that spread from my mouth all the way to my heart. She said, Eneen, have some candy, your big sister will always get you more. I held my sister's hand as we walked forward, but she kept flickering in and out of sight. When I couldn't find her, I obediently stayed put, waiting for her to come back for me. Later, she brought me to a young man's side. She said to me, Eneen, this is Brother Boyan. From now on, he'll take care of you and protect you in my place. Alright, no, I only want my sister. But no one ever taught me how to say no. I was scared of that brother. He never spoke and never smiled, until one stormy night, I clutched his sleeve in fear. He suddenly crouched down and said to me, hop on, I'll carry you. He carried me on his back, and I held the umbrella, trying my best to keep him from getting wet, but in the end, my own back was soaked through. Seeing this, he looked helpless. As he put his jacket on me, he said, Eneen, you need to learn to protect yourself. You are the most important person. I'm the most important. That was the first time anyone had ever said something like that to me. Eneen, someone was calling my name. It was the person who would call me to go to school, pick me up afterwards, and take me home. I desperately tried to open my eyes. Thank you, Bo Yan. I opened my mouth, wanting to ask him something, but no sound came out. He reassured me. Alwana's doing very well. The surgery was a success. She's still unconscious, but don't worry, get some good rest. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. It took a long time, but I finally found my voice again. When will big sister wake up? Xia Boyan glared at me. Don't even think about it. I felt helpless. She went into surgery without me. And if she wakes up and still doesn't see me, she'll overthink things. Xia Boyan frowned. Don't worry, they'll handle it. When A1 went into surgery, she asked where you were, and they told her they were the ones who kept you from coming. They should know by now. Whether they know or not is irrelevant. No one is doing anything for their sake. But what truly bothered Xia Boyan was that, from beginning to end, they didn't even spare a glance for Eneen. I let out an oh and felt relieved. No matter what they do, they'd never intentionally hurt my sister. As for their attitude towards me, I couldn't care less. I saw my sister again a week later. Within a week, I was already up and walking, but she was still confined to her hospital bed. Yet, her complexion had significantly improved, and her eyes sparkled with an undeniable joy. She was very happy. Eneen, come here, she said. Mom promised me that as long as I recover well, she'll let us travel. Eneen, we can finally go to Yunnan. Yes, we can finally go to Yunnan. She had been bedridden all winter. When spring arrived and the flowers bloomed, she wore the scarf I knitted for her. Xia Boyan handled our luggage, and we set off on our journey to Yunnan. 14. Epilogue. A1 story. Everyone was filled with anticipation when my sister was born. they were all waiting for the umbilical cord blood matching results. Only Awan was looking forward to her sister. Awan was the first to rush to her baby sister's side. The little one was tiny and a bit homely, but Awan adored her. As she reached out to touch the newborn, tiny fingers suddenly grasped hers, so soft and warm. Awan smiled happily. Little sister was sent away. Awan asked Mom, "Where did little sister go?" Mom said, "No one could take care of her, so we sent her to stay with grandparents. Wan is such a sensible girl, she knows her condition requires constant care, and Dad needs to work. Grandma and Grandpa will surely take good care of little sister. After all, she's absolutely adorable." But when we returned to Grandma and Grandpa's for New Year, my little sister was filthy and smelled awful. She crawled on the floor in threadbare clothes, with no one looking after her. Awan was heartbroken. She tearfully begged Mom to take her little sister home, but Mom said, "She's fine, don't worry, all kids go through this phase." Helplessness. 7-year-old Awan felt that crushing sense of helplessness. There was nothing she could do. Even crying and tantrums proved futile. She couldn't understand why her mother showed no compassion for her own child. Later, her condition worsened. Endless cycles of chemotherapy and medication left her writhing in pain on the bed. Gazing at the lush green grass outside, she said, "Mom, can we name little sister Eneen?" Awan kept pleading to bring her sister home. Little sister needs to attend kindergarten and stay with her own parents. Awan had so much to say. Mom just said one thing, "She's fine, don't worry." Awan didn't know what to do. She decided to ask Siaboyan. Everyone knew how brilliant Siaboyan was. He aced every exam. He must have a way. Later he said, she must prove her worth to return. It's not about what she needs, but what use she has. Otherwise, she's just dead weight, and dead weight gets discarded. That was the first time Awan confronted her parents' indifference. Siaboyan was absolutely right, but Awan was heartbroken. Mom and Dad don't love little sister. She didn't want to accept it, but she had to. When she got home, she said to her mom, "I'm so lonely, Mom, please bring sister back. She can play with me and help me with chores." Awan thought that even if her parents didn't like Eneen, she could still take good care of her, but her health was too poor. That time, she was hospitalized with acute enteritis, suffering from severe vomiting and diarrhea. Her parents spent the whole night with her at the hospital, and no one remembered Eneen. For anti-counterfeiting of Xiaohubot files, choose Xiaohubot for reliable and stable service. You won't regret it. By the time they got home, Eneen had already collapsed unconscious outside the door. Cold, hungry, dark, and terrified, she shivered and huddled in a corner all night. No one came for her, so Awan handed Eneen over to Siaboyan. She hoped Siaboyan would cherish her precious little one. For Awan, simply being alive was quite a painful ordeal. Even as a child, she felt that perhaps death would be a release, but then came Inging. She always wondered, if she died, what would happen to her precious baby? Fortunately, Siaboyan kept his promise. He stood firmly by Inging's side, even when the other side of the scale was Feng Wan. Herself, she was secretly relieved that Yin's cord blood wasn't a match for her. If her survival meant preying on Yin's very essence, she'd rather die sooner than later. There was no way she'd let Yin sacrifice a kidney just to buy her another year or so. Yet, Awan still clung to the desire to live. Yin said she'd help her win a championship. Yin wants to travel with her. She wants to send Yin to college. If Yin is all alone with no one to support her, what if others bully her? Luckily, heaven took pity on her. She accomplished all those things. Siaboyan took Yin and her to Yunnan. What a beautiful place that was. They cycled around Arai Lake, visited Shizhou ancient town, and saw a riot of colors at Rainbow Farm. It was her first time sharing a bed with Yin. Yin snuggled beside her, tugging at her clothes. And she was so happy she could have laughed in her sleep. Those 10 days were worth a lifetime to her. Yin is incredibly capable. She said she'd ace the top exam for A1, and she actually did. She chose the best university, and A1 was the one who took her there. A1 was a bit worried. She wasn't pretty, she was bony and sickly. She was afraid of embarrassing Yin, yet Yin introduced her to her roommates without any hesitation. A1 breathed a sigh of relief. She shared the snacks she had bought with everyone, hoping they would be kind to Yin. She wasn't good with words, so all she could tell them was, "Our Yin is quiet and introverted, please look out for her." What other regrets did Awan have? Not being able to stay with Yin for long, not being able to see her get married and have children, and her parents, she didn't know what to do about them. She had considered mending the relationship between Yin and her parents. But that wouldn't be fair to Yinyin. If she were to leave a last wish for her parents, besides hoping they live long and well, it would be for them not to bother Yinyin. They didn't raise Yinyin when she was young, so they shouldn't expect her to support them in their old age. 15. Side story, Xia Boyan's chapter. Though Xia Boyan carried the Xia surname, he wasn't the Xia's biological child. He was adopted by the Xia family from an orphanage. As an orphanage kid, he knew his place in the world. Be obedient, sensible, and don't make a fuss. Don't wish for things that aren't meant for you. In the beginning, for the first year, the Xia family parents treated him so well that he almost lost himself. Later, when the Xia family parents had their own biological child, their relationship with him became purely a matter of obligation. Xia Boyan was very grateful that he had stayed true to himself. It would be even more painful to gain something only to lose it again, so when he first saw Feng Wan, he felt a twinge of envy. Feng Wan was truly blessed. She had the most loving parents in the world. His first interaction with Feng Wan happened when she approached him. Feng Wan offered him a candy. "I'm sick and can't eat this. Could you taste it for me and tell me what it's like?" Xia Boyan hesitated for a long time, but finally took it under Feng Wan's eager gaze. Feng Wan excitedly asked him, "Is it sweet?" Xia Boyan nodded. "Sweet? How sweet is it?" "Sweet as honey, like beeswax honey. I've never had it." "Is it really sweet?" Xia Boyan hadn't actually tasted it either, but he still nodded. "Very sweet." "So, does eating something sweet make you feel happy?" Happy, Xia Boyan thought. Probably. The next day, Feng Wan came over again, this time with a loaf of bread. "Could you taste this bread for me? Is it sweet or savory?" The third day was a piece of cake. "Taste it. Does it taste the same as yesterday's bread?" It wasn't that she couldn't eat it. She was clearly using her inability to eat as an excuse to pity him. "Are you pitying me?" Feng Wan blinked in confusion. "You mean these snacks? I genuinely can't eat them because I'm sick. I was saving them for my little sister, but our parents refused to bring her here. I gave them to you because I was worried they'd expire. But don't worry, they're still within the expiration date." Feng Wan was distressed, unsure how she could possibly bring her sister to live with her. Her tears were useless, her pleas were useless, and reasoning with them was useless too. She even ended up in the hospital once due to extreme emotional distress, but her parents still wouldn't budge. Xia Boyan listened quietly as Feng Wan recounted her story. After she finished, Xia Boyan said, "It has to be you who needs her, not her who needs you." "What?" Feng Wan didn't understand. Xia Boyan explained, "She has to be valuable to come back. It's not about what she needs to gain, but what use she is. Otherwise, she's just a burden, and burdens are always discarded." Feng Wan was deeply saddened after hearing Xia Boyan's words. After a long silence, she nodded. "I understand." The child he'd never met tugged at Xia Boyan's heartstrings. He'd expected the child to have a hard life, but not this hard. That child was born for Feng Wan's sake, yet her umbilical cord blood wasn't a match. The doctor said this was quite common, but Feng Wan's family couldn't accept it. Their first thought was that the baby had been switched. How ridiculous. They had tested the umbilical cord blood, yet they still believed the child was wrong. Feng Wan's parents even obsessively went as far as to get a paternity test. But the elders back home just don't buy into these so-called scientific certifications. The results speak for themselves. Everyone else's biological children are fine, so why not that kid? Even if she's biologically their child, she's not one of them at heart. So, giving her a bite to eat and not letting her starve to death is already more than enough. The child was raised by the old man like an animal, a 3.5-year-old child, who could barely even speak. Xia Boyan couldn't bring himself to recall the Feng Yin he first knew. Every time he thought of it, a dense, throbbing pain would spread through his heart. So, when Feng Wan entrusted her to him, Xia Boyan agreed without a moment's hesitation. Someone once asked him if he truly loved Feng Wan or Feng Yin. Given a second chance, things should turn out differently this time. For people like them, simply surviving is already a struggle. Love was something they had never even considered. The three of them huddled together for warmth, supporting each other as they moved forward, and that was enough to satisfy him. But Feng Wan's body was already at its breaking point. Feng Wan said it wasn't worth sacrificing one of Yingying's kidneys for a body like hers. Xia Boyan remained silent in tacit agreement, yet watching Feng Wan's gradual decline filled him with utter despair. Feng Wan pleaded with him, "Promise me you'll take care of Yinyin, look after her for life." This went without saying. No request from Feng Wan was even necessary. She was the little girl he had raised himself, and he would undoubtedly take care of her for the rest of his life. never missing a single moment. But the little girl grew up, and she started to have her own ideas. She said trading a kidney for a year and a half of Feng Wan's life was absolutely worth it. And Xia Boyan couldn't even bring himself to try and talk her out of it. He knew that once the young lady found out, it would be beyond his control. A year, or so, to be precise, a year and a half. The young lady was sitting on the balcony, and Xia Boyan was so scared he stopped breathing. But the young girl just smiled and said, "A year and a half, and I've made a profit." Xia Boyan pleaded, "Enin, please be good, don't move." The young girl looked back at him. "Brother Boyan, don't be scared, I won't kill myself, I still need to be here for you. If even I die, what will you do?" Xia Boyan, trembling, stepped forward and carried the little girl down from the balcony. He said, "Yes, stay with me, you have to stay with me. From now on, they would be the only two left in this world." The end. Story 2. My sister and I both got bound to a life turnaround system. She chose the beauty enhancement path while I opted for the academic excellence route. Unexpectedly, my sister lost her looks and fell into poverty after failing to win genuine love from men. Meanwhile, I became the youngest academician, made groundbreaking contributions in cutting-edge physics, got pursued by Beijing's most eligible bachelor, and achieved both fame and fortune. My sister, consumed by jealousy, ran me over with her car. When I opened my eyes again, we'd both been reborn on the day the system bound us. My younger sister beat me to it, choosing the academic overlord system. "Sis, this time let me become the top genius in academia for you." Watching her smug smile, I slowly curved my lips in response. Little did she know, every gift from fate comes with a price. Only after Lin Jinyan ran me over did I realize she'd always regretted her choice. At 16, both Lin Jinyan and I received a system-bound opportunity to turn our lives around. The mysterious voice said we only get one chance to choose, beauty beyond compare or genius-level intellect. You only get one shot at this life-defining choice. Have you decided? In her past life, my sister chose the beauty system, convinced that looks were the golden ticket to high society. But when she actually climbed higher through beauty and saw the wider world, she realized beauty wasn't the rare commodity she'd imagined. She was just a plaything for those rich boys, never receiving their genuine love. They were infatuated with her beauty, but it was nothing more than fleeting pleasure. In the end, my sister lost all her charm without true love, abandoned by her sugar daddy and left in utter destitution. Meanwhile, I got bound to an academic overachiever system, becoming the youngest academician while being pursued by Fu Yanyu, the unattainable crown prince of Beijing's elite circle that even my sister couldn't conquer. I achieved both fame and fortune. After she killed me out of jealousy, we found ourselves back at 16 again. This time, before the mysterious figure could finish speaking, my sister shouted, "I choose the academic overachiever system." The mysterious figure revealed half their face, smiling at the younger sister. "But just now you said you wanted unparalleled beauty. The system is derived from your innermost desires. Are you truly certain about becoming a top student?" The younger sister answered greedily and impatiently, "Yes, I must become a top student. Looks are nothing compared to brains." The mysterious figure pondered for a moment before turning to me. "What about you?" Seeing the stranger actually seeking my opinion, my younger sister suddenly rushed forward and snatched the colorful orb from their right hand. The glowing orb merged with her upon contact. Her sister's eyes sparkled with ecstasy. "Perfect, this time, the fame, fortune, and chance to be pursued by Fu Yanyu will all be mine." The mysterious figure remained motionless, only his smile growing gentler. "You can only bind with the beauty counterattack system now." The mysterious figure handed me another glowing orb before gradually turning translucent and vanishing. "The gifts bestowed by fate have been entrusted to you. Hosts, please fulfill your missions diligently and embrace a blissful life." My younger sister, completely absorbed in her newly bound system, looked up and sneered at me. "You enjoyed so many privileges in your past life, sister, now it's my turn." I looked at her, lips curling slowly without a word. Lin Jinyan still didn't realize that fate's so-called gifts always come with a price. Even with assistive machines, human effort remains indispensable. 2. Lin Jinyan began to reap the benefits of the system. Initially, all our systems come with built-in cheats. The academic prodigy system enhances Lin Jinyan's memory and comprehension, making her study efforts twice as effective. She delighted teachers and classmates by demonstrating her photographic memory. How did Jinyan suddenly become so brilliant? How enviable! Lin Jinyan basked in the flattery, floating on cloud 9, noticing me in her peripheral vision. She covered her mouth with a light chuckle. Actually, big sister studies hard at home too, but just can't seem to focus. Sigh. I'd be happy to share my study methods with my sister if she wanted, but she never asks me for help. Her deskmate, who actually wanted to ask Lin Jinyan for problem-solving advice, immediately chimed in. Oh come on, Lin Qingyi's just not that bright. Even if you taught her, Jinyan, it wouldn't make a difference. How can two sisters from the same mother be so different? Jinyan's brilliant while Qingyi's just, well, not. Am I stupid? I stared at my math test paper with a 124 score. Truth be told, my grades aren't actually bad now. It's just that Lin Jinyan keeps reinforcing stereotypes in her remarks, making people think I secretly study at home and envy my sister's academic performance. During school years, everyone tends to view top students through rose-colored glasses, especially someone like Lin Jinyan, who aces exams without even trying. Intelligence is a rare commodity, hard-earned and deeply enviable. The boys in class started teasing me on purpose, trying to get my attention. The beauty system was flexing its power too. Lin Jinyan and I used to look almost identical. But then I started blossoming into my own. I grew taller, my waist slimmer, my complexion fairer, with eyes and brows that became strikingly beautiful. In this school where everyone went barefaced, people began noticing my breathtaking beauty. What's the point of being pretty? A student's real job is to study. True, Lin Qingyi may be pretty, but Lin Jinyan is so sharp, she'll always be my goddess. Lin Jinyan basked in smug satisfaction at this. I watched coldly from the sidelines without uttering a single word to her. Little did she know. The genius system doesn't make people smarter for nothing. In her past life, she had to win others over to gain the genuine affection of the chosen one, while I had to work twice as hard, burying myself in studies, just to achieve academic success. Intelligence alone isn't enough. Those at the top never lack talent. In the end, what truly matters is who works harder and endures the loneliness of fruitless efforts longer. The world is full of beautiful and intelligent people. Yet not everyone achieves success. Behind every glamorous appearance lies twice the effort. Fortune never favors those who seek rewards without work. 3. Lin Jinyan quickly secured her position as the top student in the grade. She was surrounded by nothing but academic high achievers. But she noticed I wasn't being ostracized by all the girls like she had been in her past life. On the contrary, everyone still chatted and laughed with me as usual. She couldn't comprehend why. Despite sharing the same beauty, being featured on the confession wall multiple times, and becoming the school's undisputed belle, I never faced jealousy from other girls. Truth be told, in her past life, people disliked her for reasons beyond her looks. Lin Qingyi, I'm taking you to karaoke after school. Yuan, Su Lang, the notorious bully from the next class, was loitering at our doorway again. Su Lang came from a wealthy family with powerful connections. His father had ties to both legal and underground circles, owning the largest entertainment complex in town. With that kind of influence, even teachers tread carefully around Su Lang. In their past life, Su Lang had pursued Lin Jinyan with the same fiery intensity. Back then, Lin Jinyan loved the spotlight, often riding pillion on Su Lang's motorcycle for all to see, like some spoiled heroine from a teen novel. She skipped class every day while others studied hard, bullying classmates by riding on Su Lang's coattails. So despite her breathtaking beauty, plenty of people still couldn't stand her. But I didn't follow in her footsteps. Su Lang loomed over me, palms planted on my desk as he stared down with arrogant superiority. He's handsome, generous with money, and has tons of admirers, but has a terrible temper. So are you coming or not? Give me an answer. I shook my head. Not going. I'm heading home today. This was the fourth time I'd turned Su Lang down. He was visibly impatient, his eyes flashing with irritation, and the stares from those around him only fueled his anger. Lin Qingyi, don't push your luck. While I still have a soft spot for you, quit playing hard to get. The crowd watched the spectacle in tense silence, no one daring to speak up. After all, Su Lang had just hospitalized a student who crossed him last month. I lowered my gaze and pinched my thigh hard. Then I looked up with red-rimmed eyes, tears glistening in them. Su Lang, how could you do this? Su Lang's rising anger instantly subsided as he scratched his head in confusion. Damn it, I didn't even say anything about you. Stop crying, will you? Fine, we won't go then. I ignored him, sniffled, wiped my tears and ran out of the classroom. Had to run another second and I wouldn't be able to hold back the tears. I have to admit that beauty can sometimes be a weapon. But it's a double-edged sword, wield it poorly, and you'll only hurt yourself. Going head-to-head with Su Lang is clearly unwise. Playing the vulnerable card keeps me in the safety zone. Without the means to protect myself, my beauty feels like a child carrying gold through a crowded marketplace, but I have no intention of following Lin Jinyan's path, seeking protection from some powerful man. Entrusting your life to strange men and trying to leash them with beauty is fundamentally against human nature. Even the most exquisite flower loses its charm with time. A caged canary was never meant to soar. I was born to soar like an eagle. 4. Don't let my slender frame fool you. I can run like the wind. By the time Su Lang came looking for me, I'd already vanished into thin air. In the dingy storage room, I sat on a tumbling mat with its stuffing coming out. Pulling out the vocabulary notebook I'd stashed in my bag during the chaos, perfectly quiet, ideal for memorizing vocabulary, I set up my phone stand while reciting from memory, recording a video of myself, planning to post it online when I get home. In this era of thriving digital economy, exceptional beauty can be monetized instantly. My study vlog account has now gained 600k followers. My fans affectionately call me Ducky and love watching me memorize textbooks. Who wouldn't want a daughter like this? A fair-skinned, lovely girl studying diligently. Among beauty influencers, I quickly stood out with 90% female followers, essentially gaining a squad of internet moms. Just as I suspected, the system's affection collection isn't limited by gender. The motherly love from netizens also counts as a successful conquest, with my student status enhancing it. The system-granted beauty no longer feels intimidating. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I'm amazed by how extraordinary my face is. My inbox was flooded with messages from talent scouts, all insisting I should shine in the entertainment industry and become a star. In her past life, Lin Jinyan briefly entered showbiz, but her career was fleeting. She was quickly tucked away by admirers. After losing her looks, gossip accounts still frequently posted her before and after photos, lamenting how time had ravaged her beauty. Ravaged my foot. She was only 32. I'm no genius in this life, just an average intellect. The cutthroat academic world clearly isn't for me, but I'm not planning to debut this early either. With enough effort, even ordinary people can get into top universities. In the digital economy, I can monetize my looks almost instantly. Relying on looks isn't a sustainable strategy. While my account was thriving, Lin Jinyan's academic performance began fluctuating. She snapped at the system. Aren't I supposed to be a top student? Why am I stuck on this problem? The system replied in a flat mechanical tone, I can only provide intelligence. The host must acquire knowledge independently. Lin Jinyan was never one to sit still. She'd rather die than hit the books, but after placing second in her grade yet again, she had no choice but to start studying. With the system's assistance, learning became effortless for her. Soon enough, she reclaimed her spot as the top student in her grade. My parents were thrilled about this. Everyone loves a well-behaved kid who excels academically, and my folks are particularly obsessed with educational credentials. Chingy, why can't you be more like your sister? You barely made the top 70 in your grade, while Jinyan consistently ranks first. Tilting my head, I replied with a smile, but Dad, I've actually improved from before. My homeroom teacher said my grades are good enough to get into a decent university. My mother frowned. Even in our past life, she never liked Lin Jinyan, especially as the girl grew more beautiful. She always thought there was something shady about her. This time around, that suspicion fell on me instead. I heard you've been hanging around with some questionable men. Lin Chingy, don't you dare embarrass our family in public. Lin Jinyan watched me with malicious glee. After our parents finished venting their anger, she approached with a smug smile, pulling me to the mirror. Sister, what good is beauty now, this time? I'm the one our parents truly love. I looked at her and sighed inwardly. Why am I still obsessing over these things even in this second life? The truth is, neither of our parents truly loved us. They only favored children who could bring benefits to the family. In my past life, after I became a renowned scientist, my parents turned into role models among relatives and friends, constantly dragging me out of the lab to show me off for appearance's sake. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have parents who love their children unconditionally. Sometimes, parental love comes with strings attached, but that's alright. Life is about embracing imperfections. Lin Jinyan told her parents about Su Lang pursuing me. Lately my mom's been watching me like a hawk. She's terrified I'll do something to disgrace the family, to the point of wanting to lock me up at home. Don't you dare stoop to such disgraceful behavior. A man's got his whole life ahead of him. If you get into trouble, don't expect me to bail you out. Back in the day, any woman fooling around with men would have been drowned in a pig cage. My mother's shrill voice echoed in my ears. I dismissed her as some ridiculous side character from a trashy novel. But today, I didn't head straight home. Su Lang intercepted me at the school gate. Lin Qingyi, your sister told me everything. You look down on me, don't you? Lin Jingyan knew Su Lang all too well, a muscle-bound simpleton with a short fuse and an oversized ego. When Su Lang realized my repeated rejections stemmed from contempt, he stormed over to confront me. He dragged me away from the school gate, his face twisted in anger as he demanded an explanation, looking down on me. I've got plenty of ways to deal with you. I looked helplessly at Su Lang and let out a soft sigh. Same old tricks. Are you going to bully me along with Lin Jingyan too? Teenage boys are easy to manipulate, even someone as morally bankrupt as Su Lang. Picking unnecessary fights without guaranteed victory is downright stupid. I've got too much to live for to go down with trash like you. Who's bullying you? I covered my face and started sobbing, refusing to answer no matter how Su Lang pressed me. In the deserted equipment room, only my muffled weeping echoed, the sound drilling into Su Lang's skull. Lin Jingyan dragged Fu Nianyu toward the equipment room under the pretense of discussing homework. Su Lang was the type to lose all restraint when angry. Taking Lin Qingyi away today would surely end badly for her. She didn't just call Fu Nianyu, but also rallied other classmates and even preemptively phoned their parents, saying her sister had run off with troublemakers and couldn't be stopped. The whole group marched toward the equipment room in a boisterous procession. Lin Jingyan walked with a spring in her step, her face lit up with a radiant smile, as if she could already picture Lin Qingyi's reputation crumbling before her eyes. Fu Nianyu trailed behind her impatiently. Why must we do problems in the equipment room? Lin Jingyan murmured softly. I think the equipment room has better ambience. Seeing a few classmates nearby, Fu Nianyu decided not to say anything more. As Lin Qingyi pulled open the lounge door, she spotted her parents hurrying over from a distance. Without even properly seeing what was happening inside, she screamed the moment the door opened, "Mom, don't come over. I can't believe my sister would do something this shameful." My parents immediately cursed our family's misfortune upon hearing this, pushing past the stunned classmates to step forward, then froze in the doorway. Mr. Su, what are you doing here? 6. Inside the equipment room. It wasn't the scene of me and Su Lang in a physical altercation that Lin Jingyan had imagined, because there's actually a third person here, Su Lang's elder sister, teacher Su Huan. A table stood in the spacious room where Su Lang and I sat on opposite sides, while teacher Su Huan held an exam paper, explaining key test points. The sight of so many people gathered at the doorway made her freeze momentarily. What brings you all here? Are these parents? What's the matter? The atmosphere instantly became extremely awkward. All the classmates who came with Lin Jingyan heard what she just said. The scene inside the room was clearly nothing to be ashamed of. My parents' curses got stuck mid-sentence, leaving my dad choking so hard he nearly rolled his eyes. How? Why is teacher Su with Qingyi? Su Huan's calm gaze carried the natural authority of an educator. Qingyi had some questions she wanted to ask me. I promised to help her after class. Hearing this, everyone turned to look at Lin Jingyan. A classmate couldn't help but say, "Jingyan, didn't you see teacher Su earlier? Why would you say something like that?" Seriously, I almost thought Lin Qingyi was up to something in there. Fu Nianyu, already visibly irritated, grew even more sullen. Lin Jingyan misunderstood Fu Nianyu, assuming his sapiosexual nature explained his supposed undying devotion to me in our past life. In truth, Fu Nianyu only cares about personal gain. His passionate pursuit of me in our past life wasn't just out of affection, it was primarily because of the high-profile project I was leading. The groundbreaking research from this world-class team could generate millions in profits. Securing this collaboration would elevate the Fu family's status significantly. Someone of Fu Nianyu's social standing would never entertain naive romantic notions, though still young. This reincarnated Fu Nianyu clearly retains the same calculating mindset from his previous life. A few words were all it took for him to understand why Lin Jingyan had summoned him. Lin Jingyan, I didn't come here to watch some catfight between your little sisters. Nianyu. Lin Jingyan called Fu Nianyu's name plaintively, but her coquettish glance was wasted on blind eyes. Honestly, I had no idea my sister was here. My eyes must have been playing tricks on me. I only saw Su Lang and my sister together, and I thought she was. She deliberately paused, speaking with suggestive ambiguity. After all, everyone knows Su Lang's been pursuing my sister. At the word pursuing, my mother's face contorted. If teacher Sue hadn't been present, she probably would have started scolding me right then. In her eyes, any conflict between men and women can be blamed on the woman's impropriety, physically present. Mentally stuck in the Qing dynasty, my mother somehow slipped through the cracks of China's reform era. If given the chance, I'd recommend exhibiting her at the Capitol Museum. She'd make a perfect living exhibit of late Qing commoners' mentality. My mother remained silent, but Su Lang spoke up. He might be a jerk, but he's not completely brainless. It suddenly dawned on him that Lin Jinyan had been using him. Cut the crap. Lin Jinyan, wasn't it you who told me to come find Lin Qingyi here today? Su Lang sneered coldly. So this is your little trap for us. You think I'm as despicable as you. Such foul schemes for someone so young. Let me make this clear, Lin Qingyi and I share nothing but pure academic camaraderie. We came here today solely to study with my sister. Studying, got that? Are your tear ducts plumbed to your bladder? Seeing everyone through piss-colored lenses, a filthy mind sees filth everywhere. Unable to bear the judgmental stares after Su Lang's brutal verbal assault, Lin Jinyan covered her face and fled in tears. My mother shot me a glare before rushing after her in concern. Only after Su Lang finished did Su Huan interject apologetically. Please don't take it to heart, Mrs. Lin. My brother's just a rebellious teen who speaks without thinking. With a meaningful glance, she signaled Su Lang to apologize. Su Lang snorted defiantly. Sorry, uncle, I just call it like I see it. With the teacher and all his classmates watching, what could my dad possibly say? Utterly humiliated, he mumbled some incoherent pleasantries before scurrying after my mother. Before leaving, he reminded me to head straight home after studying. The classmates awkwardly bid their goodbyes at varying heights before scattering in disarray, determined to ruin my reputation. Lin Jinyan deliberately summoned the class's notorious gossipmonger. I trust Little Trumpet won't let me down. Lin Jinyan's story will spread to every corner of the campus. 7. After Su Lang was sent home by Su Huan, she drove me back. Rush hour traffic crawled through the dim twilight, with taillights merging into a beautiful crimson river. Su Huan asked me, how could you be so sure Lin Jinyan would bring people to the equipment room? I smiled. I'd already started making arrangements the day she went to see Su Lang, contrary to Lin Jinyan's assumptions. While I often rejected Su Lang publicly, we maintained casual private contact. Like managing a client, I'd occasionally exchange ambiguous messages with him. That's how I easily extracted the time of Lin Jinyan's meeting with Su Lang. Judging by Su Lang's response patterns, I suspected Lin Jinyan was trying to set me up today. Knowing Lin Jinyan as I do, her only play would be exposing my puppy love with Su Lang in front of everyone, making our parents lose faith in me. Forcing me to relive her past life's mistakes. In our previous lives, Su Lang and Lin Jinyan also got caught by a teacher in the equipment room. Mom dragged Lin Jinyan home for strict discipline back then. It was only after I promised to keep my sister in line that Mom allowed her to return to school. She's trying the same old trick, calling our parents to rob me of my education. She doesn't just want to live the life I had in my past incarnation, she wants to destroy me completely. We share the same mother's womb, the closest bond this world could forge, yet twin flowers rooted in the same soil don't share nourishment. They compete ruthlessly to drain each other's vitality, whether for Lin Jinyan murdering me in my past life or her attempts to ruin me now. I owe her no kindness. Professor Su, I truly appreciate you trusting me enough to play along with this act. The moment I spotted Su Lang at the school gate, I immediately called Su Huan. Which is why she arrived at the equipment room so quickly. Just as I was fake crying in front of Su Lang in the equipment room, Su Huan burst through the door with exam papers in hand, beating him to the punch. Su Huan focused on driving, her porcelain profile framed by rimless glasses that accentuated her piercing gaze, a perfect blend of feminine wisdom and composure. This is no trouble at all. As partners, I'm happy to do you this small favor. To be honest, this is also a test of sorts. Su Huan calmly analyzed his thoughts. You claim you can help me secure the Su family inheritance, but I need proof of your capabilities. Empty promises won't cut it. I know my brother all too well. He's all brawn and no brains, charging through life like a bull in a china shop, not the sharpest tool in the shed, nor particularly talented, but fate smiled on him by making him the only male heir to our family fortune. Ruining him would be child's play. The real challenge is doing it without my parents catching on. Still, you've handled it beautifully. I'm quite pleased. Pleasure doing business. Yes, Su Huan and I are business partners. After graduating from a top-tier business program at a prestigious international university, Su Huan was forced by her family to teach high school upon returning home, while also being required to spend 3 days weekly meeting potential suitors from similar social circles to arrange a strategic marriage. Despite these constraints, Su Huan from that lifetime still carved her own path through sheer determination, eventually becoming the head of the Su family, though she doesn't remember. We were once comrades who trusted each other with our lives. Different paths may lead to the same destination when you use the right approach. Sometimes I think life is like a card game, we're all dealt different hands, and the key to winning lies in how we strategically play our limited cards. Whether it's the beauty system or the academic system, both can leverage existing resources to achieve ultimate goals. What truly matters isn't the system or cheat codes, it's me. 8. Lin Jinyan's eyes were red and puffy at home. Clearly, she'd been crying for a long time. My parents wore stern expressions, yet couldn't bring themselves to scold me. Chingy, you're not a child anymore. You should maintain proper boundaries with male classmates. Hanging around with troublemakers like Su Lang will ruin your reputation, my mother pleaded earnestly, trying to steer me back to what she considered the right path. Of course I wouldn't argue with her pointlessly. You're absolutely right, Mom. I don't really want to get too close to Su Lang either. But whenever teacher Su Huan gave me private tutoring, she always brought Su Lang along. You know, she's the best teacher at our school. Most students can't even get on her waiting list for extra lessons. My mother frowned, her tone softening since I was telling the truth. Your teachers should know better, especially with how Su Lang behaves. I sighed. After all, Su Lang is her own younger brother. My father chimed in, absolutely, it's only natural for an elder sister to look after her younger brother. I smiled without saying a word. My father was speaking from the heart. He spent his whole life feeling ashamed for not having a son. In this twisted household, it's no surprise that Lin Jinyan and I have such a superficial bond, but at least I never meant her harm. I turned to meet Lin Jinyan's gaze, our shared secret passing silently between us. After our parents retreated to their bedroom, Lin Jinyan glared at me with red-rimmed eyes and hissed, Lin Chingy, dodging the bullet this time won't save you. I'll become the youngest academician, the final victory will be mine. I nodded with a smile and asked softly, Chinan, am I beautiful? She scoffed, you haven't even won Su Lang over yet, you're behind where I was in my previous life. What good is beauty? The day your conquest fails, you'll lose everything. Lin Chingy shot me an icy glance, carrying a malice and anticipation she herself hadn't noticed. Pity she's doomed to be disappointed in me. My video channel thrived, with fans showing genuine love, my progress far outpacing Lin Jinyan's previous life. Ironically, she kept slacking off in her studies, aced every exam as the top student, yet made zero actual progress. Activating the straight-A student system isn't something you can just wing and succeed at. The system's feedback was just too subtle for Lin Jinyan to perceive. 9. After the equipment room incident, Lin Jinyan's school life took a noticeable downturn. Jealousy is an emotion that festers all too easily. Soon the whole school was buzzing with rumors that Lin Jinyan envied her beautiful sister and kept sabotaging her out of spite. Better steer clear of Lin Jinyan, who knows when she might turn on you next. Straight-A students really are different. How twisted do you have to betray your own sister? Su Lang started leading the charge to make things difficult for Lin Jinyan. He'd tried giving me a hard time before too, but failed miserably. After all, critical thinking was never his strong suit, but bullying Lin Jinyan, that came naturally to him. I occasionally warned Su Lang not to cross the line, though just for show. Of course, truth is, I'm subtly undermining Lin Jinyan behind the scenes. I did the same thing as Lin Jinyan, and there's no shame in that. The only difference, she failed where I succeeded. During lunch break, Su Lang came jogging over with a trendy bubble tea for me. He skipped class all morning just to wait in line for it. In her past life, Lin Jinyan never received such treatment because she failed to understand men's inherent flaws. The unattainable always seems the most desirable. Beauty may catch the eye at first glance, but it's no strategy for the long haul. Su Lang is completely devoted to me now and follows my every word. At first, he just saw me as a pretty object to pursue, no different from plucking a flower on impulse. Only after investing more time and going through our push and pull dynamic did he fall deeper into obsession with me. Thanks, Su Lang, but you really shouldn't skip classes so often. Su Lang shrugged it off. No big deal, whether I study or not makes no difference, I just can't get the hang of it anyway. He was surprisingly candid about it, stirring my straw. I asked him earnestly. If you don't like studying, what do you enjoy doing then? Su Lang paused for a moment before murmuring. Actually, I just really enjoy gaming. After speaking, he looked at me with slight apprehension, probably worried I'd call him irresponsible, but I nodded earnestly and said, that's perfectly fine too. It's good to have something you love doing. You're genuinely skilled at games. My account racks up win streaks whenever you play casually. My cousin still hopes you'll carry him again sometime. Su Lang is so easy to please. Just compliment his gaming skills and he'll be over the moon, hee. Just hit me up whenever you want a game. Sounds good. After a brief pause, I asked, Su Lang, are you planning to go pro? You're so good at gaming. I remember you've got 7 national titles, right? Su Lang scratched his head. I'd love to go pro, but my parents won't allow it. They say I need to take over the family business and shouldn't waste my life. Feigning confusion, I said, how is pursuing esports wasting your life? Doing what you love and creating value, that's what makes life meaningful. Su Lang was visibly moved. Chingy, do you really think going pro is a good path? Absolutely, mastering anything to perfection is worthwhile. What's wrong with chasing your dreams? If not now, then when? Wait until we're in our 30s or 40s with regrets. Su Lang looked dazed, as if hearing for the first time that pursuing gaming dreams wasn't something to be ashamed of. I didn't interrupt his train of thought. Just planted a seed in his mind. In his past life, I also made Su Lang give up the family business to go pro. It just wasn't a smooth sailing back then. Meeting me was his bad luck. Su Huan asked me if I felt any guilt. After all, my foolish younger brother genuinely cares about you now. I was puzzled. Why should I feel guilty? I only encouraged him to pursue his dreams, even though I manipulated him. I didn't actually harm him, did I? Su Huan smiled with approval in his eyes. You've certainly thought this through. Of course I've thought it through. There's no shame in using men to achieve your goals. The real shame lies in being used by them and losing everything. In the cutthroat world of fame and fortune, beauty is just another resource to leverage. I hinted to Su Lang about going pro. Once Su Huan takes over the Su family, I'll secure a stake in the business. 10. I could also use Su Huan's capital to invest in that groundbreaking project from my past life, the one that never saw the light of day. Truth is, this world has never lacked geniuses. Even with the scholar system I had in my previous life, that project wasn't solely my achievement. After rebirth, I lost the most crucial memories about that project's core. Now I can't meddle with it anymore. But that won't stop me from achieving my goals through alternative means. If you can't contribute effort, you can still contribute resources. It'd be foolish to relive one's life following old memories without change. Take Lin Jinyan for example. She's obsessed with replacing me and retracing my steps, never considering how the slightest alteration could trigger a butterfly effect. While she was still agonizing over whether to study for the next exam, I'd already amassed 35 million followers with my popularity meter maxed out. The system notified me, host, your popularity metrics are impressive, but fan devotion isn't exclusive or genuine. I'm well aware, you can't find true love through internet mommies. But no rush, slow and steady wins the race. As my follower count grew, people I knew started discovering my account. It began with classmates. Holy crap, Lin Chingy, you're a full-blown internet celebrity now. No kidding, over 1 million followers, that's insane. Can I take a selfie with you for my feed? I smiled and said, of course you can. Classmates who took photos with me would post about me on social media. In everyone's descriptions, I was portrayed as a sweet, pretty, honest girl who loved studying. It also matched my fans' impression of me. My follower count skyrocketed after that, and the account landed me enough sponsorship deals to build up a nice nest egg. But Lin Jinyan caught wind of it soon enough. When I got home from school, my parents were sitting stone-faced on the couch. Lin Jinyan sat to the side, watching me with barely concealed glee. Lin Chingy, my mother snapped first. Do you even realize a student's priority is studying? Who gave you permission to flaunt yourself online? Delete that account of yours right now. Lin Jinyan whispered from the side. Mom, don't be too hard on sis. She's just trying alternative ways because her grades aren't good, right? Being an influencer isn't bad. My sister could support herself without going to college. Mom grew angrier by the second. How dare she? She turned and snapped at me. Decent people don't flaunt themselves online. If you still consider me your mother, stop this nonsense right now. I sighed. Mom, I was just posting about my study routine. Posting videos is just wrong. What kind of serious student films their study sessions? no wonder you can't score as high as Chinin, your mind's never on your studies. I deliberately talked back. Mom, do you think everything I do is wrong? Then I turned to my dad with teary eyes and asked, Dad, do you also think posting about my study routine is bad? My dad sighed, you're so immature. How many of those internet celebrities are actually decent people? I used to be obedient and never talked back to my parents, but this time, I suddenly snapped and lashed out at them. Finally, I blurted out, do you favor my sister just because she gets better grades? With that, I ran out of the house in tears. By the time my dad realized what happened and came chasing after me, I was already comfortably seated in Su Huan's understated Maybach, sipping bubble tea while editing videos. During class the next day, Lin Jinyan anxiously approached me in front of all our classmates and said, Sis, you didn't come home last night. Mom and Dad were so worried. 11, where were you all night? I saw you arriving at school in some guy's car today. Sis, don't throw your life away just to prove a point. As my classmates exchanged bewildered glances, my parents rushed in. Mom looked at me like I was her sworn enemy and slapped me across the face without a word. Lin Qingyi. Have you no shame, staying out all night? Jinyan told me you ran off with some man. You're going to humiliate me completely. The morning study hall teacher arrived fashionably late. Mr./Ms. Lin, let's discuss this matter in the office first. Long black hair, frameless glasses, and a beige trench coat. The teacher who arrived happened to be Su Huan. After mentioning my parents, she fixed Lin Jinyan with a piercing stare. Lin Jinyan. Lin Qingyi called me last night after leaving home. I was the one who brought her to school this morning. Su Huan adjusted his glasses and said, just because the morning clouds blocked the sun doesn't mean you should mistake me for a man, does it? The classmates burst into laughter. Lin Jinyan's face gradually darkened, though a lingering trace of joy in her eyes made the expression almost comical. Let this be a lesson to everyone. Don't believe everything you hear. Rumors die with the wise. When sharing information, if you can't verify its truth, keep it to yourself. This isn't just about being responsible to others, it's about being responsible to yourself. With that, Su Huan left with the books in her arms, taking my parents to the office. I bit my lip, tears welling in my eyes, looking every bit the wronged innocent. That expression packed quite a punch. The classmates who were already swayed by Su Huan's words grew even more indignant seeing me like this. Lin Jinyan. Why do you keep spreading rumors about your sister? Yeah, wasn't it the same story with the equipment room last time? Are you jealous of your sister? If she's prettier, blame your own bad genes. How could you be so spiteful? The cutting words hit like knives, covering her face. Lin Jinyan ran out the door in tears. She must be wondering why, even after switching systems, she's still the one being targeted and mocked. At the end of the hallway, Lin Jinyan snarled at me. Lin Qingyi. You're feeling pretty smug, aren't you? Now I get it. People only like hypocrites like you. I smiled and said, don't play the innocent victim. You tried to screw me over and failed, because you're just that stupid. Even with a second chance at life, you're still the same fool you were before. Lin Jinyan was seething with rage, barely suppressing her fury. Ha, all talk and no action. You really think I'm afraid of you? Professor Shilin will be coming to recruit students soon. And this time he's taking me with him. So what if you become an internet celebrity? You couldn't even win Su Lang over. Do you really think your online fame will help you succeed with anyone else? She composed herself, turned slowly, and knocked on the office door. Meanwhile, I lowered my head to conceal the faint mockery in my eyes. Professor Shilin was my mentor in my past life. Before the college entrance exams, he personally visited our school to select me as his final protege. It was through him that I gained access to cutting-edge physics, gradually broadening my horizons. But Lin Jinyan never knew the professor came to our school because I'd solved the challenge problem he'd set. He chose me first, then came looking for the school. So, Lin Jinyan, who's still anxiously waiting for Professor Shilin, did she ever answer the questions he left behind? My guess, probably not. The system won't guide hosts to complete tasks, it only provides assistance. Given Lin Jinyan's personality, she likely wouldn't assign herself extra study tasks, forcing someone who hates studying to become a top student. I can't tell which suffers more, the academic system or Lin Jinyan. In the office, Su Huan was still talking with my parents. Lin Qingyi is at a critical juncture with her college entrance exams. Whatever issues there are can wait until after the exams. Don't disrupt the child's focus. Besides, I've checked Qingyi's video channel. There's nothing inappropriate, just study-related content. 12, that's wonderful. Qingyi has always been a diligent student with good study habits. Sharing her notes could really help many people. My mother would always grovel before teachers. Hearing Su Huan say that, she immediately nodded in support of my studies. My father chimed in with an ingratiating smile, but I threw a tantrum and stubbornly declared I'd never go home. What's this nonsense? Do you expect your mother to beg for your forgiveness? My father yelled at me furiously while my mother wiped her tears, complaining how I'd grown too big for my boots. Lin Jinyan also began dabbing at her eyes. Her acting skills are still better than mine. She doesn't even need to pinch her thigh to cry. Sis, you should go home. It's all my fault for worrying too much and telling mom and dad about your situation. Su Huan sighed like a selfless teacher devoted to her students. How about this? Let Qingyi stay at my place for now. This way you'll feel more at ease. I can also tutor her and help with last-minute exam prep. The sobbing came to an abrupt halt. My parents exchanged glances. Seemingly surprised by Teacher Su's unexpected kindness toward me, how could staying at the teacher's place be appropriate? It's just temporary anyway. Qingyi can return home after the exams. With Su Huan's support, I managed to move out smoothly. Unable to bear her classmates' sarcastic remarks, Lin Jinyan chose to go home for exam prep. With the top student system backing her, studying at home made no difference. At home, Lin Jinyan counted the days till Professor Shilin's arrival. Dreaming of her triumphant return to campus, I checked Professor Shilin's recent schedule, and China doesn't seem to be on the itinerary. Poor little sister, she's going to be disappointed again. After moving into Su Huan's place, we found it much easier to communicate. She handed me a stack of property listings and asked, "Which one do you like? I'll get it for you." Su Lang recently sneaked out for pro team tryouts behind his family's back. The kid's genuinely skilled. Su Huan and I originally planned to pull strings for his team placement, but turns out he didn't need any favors. Su Lang already had some clout in the gaming scene, with multiple teams scouting him. I asked Su Huan, "Su Lang's going pro while keeping his inheritance options open. Have you thought about the succession plan after his esports career?" Su Huan fiddled with the property details and flashed a radiant smile. "That's 5 or 6 years down the road. If I can't establish myself within 5 years, I deserve to hand everything to Su Lang on a silver platter. What about you? Leaving home is just the first step, right? What's next?" I chuckled. "Naturally, to teach my little sister a lesson she'll never forget." Recently, Lin Jinyan has been quietly reaching out to Fu Nianyu. In her past life, she relied solely on her beauty to charge ahead, never truly understanding how to win a man's heart. This time around, she tried the same old tricks, wielding her intellect like it was mere physical charm. 13. The results were less than stellar. After all, Fu Nianyu valued profit above all. Beauty and brains meant little in his calculations. Sometimes I find Lin Jinyan quite amusing, whether in past lives or this one. She never seems to consider succeeding on her own merits. Her beauty and intelligence always become tools to secure a powerful man's support. No matter how many lifetimes I live, I'll never understand her way of thinking. Lin Jinyan hinted to Fu Nianyu that she would become Professor Shilin's last disciple. Fu Nianyu immediately took an interest in her, taking her out to dinner several times. Oddly enough, my mother was delighted by this. She always assumed Lin Jinyan only went out to study with classmates, just like how she treated me in my past life. Truth be told, my mother doesn't actually favor academically gifted kids. My grades were decent by any standard. She simply resents pretty girls. But she's not entirely to blame. My father had a first love who was his white moonlight, and he nearly abandoned our family for her. Unfortunately, that woman only kept him as a backup and dropped him the moment she found someone better. Consumed by endless emotional turmoil, my mother channeled the pain of her failed marriage into hatred toward beautiful women. It's almost laughable. My father was the root cause of all this. He neglected his family duties. Yet my mother resents outsiders rather than him. This makes absolutely no sense. Lin Jinyan only returned to school after forming a connection with Fu Nianyu. Just like in her past life, she mistook everyone's hostility toward her as jealousy. I call this a rabid dog guarding its food. At the stairwell, Lin Jinyan smugly blocked my path. "Lin Qingyi, it must sting seeing me with Fu Nianyu, doesn't it?" I stared at her in bewilderment, completely baffled. "Today's Professor Shilin's campus visit. The mentor who once favored you will only recognize my potential this time." Unfortunately, Professor Shilin isn't in the country. He's currently vacationing on a Thai island, and if all goes as planned, he's probably already met Su Huan, who's bringing the collaboration proposal. Fu Nianyu had been trying every possible way to become Professor Shilin's student, but Professor Shilin wasn't an easy man to please, fortunately. I used to be his star pupil, Jinyan. I've never understood why you always treat me as an enemy when we're clearly operating on different systems. You live your life, I've got my own things to deal with, we've got nothing to do with each other, right? Perhaps Lin Jinyan herself had never considered the answer to this question. She didn't answer me, just shot me a resentful glance before turning away. I shook my head and returned to class with a sigh. Lin Jinyan was distracted all day long. She kept glancing out the window, hoping to spot an unfamiliar figure, but as the sun set, Professor Shilin still hadn't appeared. 14. Finally unable to contain herself, she rushed to the teacher's office. After what seemed like an eternity inside, she came running out in tears. Lin Qingyi, what on earth have you done? Why didn't Professor Shilin show up today? I tilted my head in confusion. What are you talking about? What professor? She fumed. Stop playing dumb. It's obviously. I cut her off coldly. You've already forced me out of the house. What more do you want? The moment I finished speaking, someone immediately stood up for me. Lin Jinyan got bullied but couldn't explain herself clearly, then ran out of the classroom with reddened eyes. My classmates all came over to comfort me. Has your sister gone study crazy? What's really going on with her? The exams are coming up, Qingyi, don't take it to heart. A few close classmates knew how blatantly biased my parents were. Things will get better once you leave for college. Exactly, your account's so popular you won't even need their allowance. Just stay far away from them then. I bit my lip, looking utterly wronged, yet secretly, I was calculating my next move. Lin Jinyan never returned to school, and her relationship with Fu Nianyu hung by a thread. She was probably still lying. Planning to contact Professor Shilin on her own, by this time, Professor Shilin had secured Su Huan's sponsorship and was already immersed in hectic preparatory work. When Su Lang's rebellious gaming escapade came to light, he stubbornly refused to return home no matter what. Seeing his parents' distress, Su Huan stepped forward to shoulder his younger brother's responsibilities. Su Lang still needs a few more years to mature anyway. I'll manage the family business in his stead for now. Better than outsiders meddling. By the time Su Lang returns, I'll be married off. Perfect timing. Su's parents never suspected her. After careful consideration, they thought it was a brilliant plan and even praised Xu Huan for her maturity. Just before the college entrance exams, my parents finally remembered they had another daughter who wasn't at home. They took me back to have dinner with Lin Jinyan. Jinyan is definitely going to be the top scorer in the national college entrance exam. Lin Jinyan smirked triumphantly, standing by the bathroom sink. Lin Jinyan said coldly, you may stop Professor Shilin, but you'll never stop me from taking the Gaokao. Sis, as long as I'm still bound to this top student system, I'm destined for greatness. What about you? How's your mission going? I just smiled without responding. She's such a foolishly naive kid. If I can't stop the college entrance exam, I can at least stop her. On college entrance exam day, Su Huan hired people on my behalf to block Lin Jinyan's car, making her miss the crucial test. This was the knockout punch I'd prepared for Lin Jinyan. In the academic overlord system's missions, the college entrance exam is a pivotal stage. If this attempt fails, Lin Jinyan's current progress simply isn't enough to pass. How could I possibly let someone with a revenge system and hostile intentions roam freely? Half measures are pointless. When we act, it must be decisive. This is the final lesson I, as her elder sister, will teach Lin Jinyan. Lin Jinyan fell into a coma after being injured in a bystander brawl. She completely missed the national college entrance exam. I performed as expected. The results matched my predictions almost exactly. As I stepped out of the exam hall, the reporters at the entrance immediately perked up when they saw me. Are you Qingyi? I smiled and greeted the camera. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Qingyi. Anything you'd like to say to everyone? Hard work never betrays. Lin Jinyan only came to her senses after the exam ended. She completely lost her mind. After crying with her parents at home for hours, they reassured her that retaking the year would be fine. 15. But both Lin Jinyan and I knew it was impossible now. She missed Professor Shilin, and she missed the college entrance exams too. Her chance was gone. Soon, the academic overachiever system would revoke all cheats. She'd revert to her true self, never to be a genius again. I don't know how Lin Jinyan convinced our parents, but they seemed to have reached an agreement. My father summoned me back home. Qingyi, you'll repeat senior year. Let Jinyan take your university spot instead. I let out a bitter laugh. Dad, Do you think the admissions office is blind? Or do I just look that much like Lin Qingyi, your twins? What's wrong with letting your sister attend school? Jinyan's smart, she'll do just fine, you'll take the exam again next year. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, and snapped a photo of me and Lin Jinyan. Anyone with eyes can see we're nothing alike, right? In the photo, Lin Jinyan was the beauty while I was merely presentable. She's nothing like my past self, and I'm nothing like her past incarnation. The face mirrors the soul. As they say, Mom, Dad. Even if I look identical to Lin Jinyan, I won't give up my college opportunity for her. Jinyan, don't you think it's awfully convenient that there just happened to be a fight blocking your only route to the exam hall? Lin Jinyan's eyes widened, her breathing became rapid. You did this? My parents stared at me in astonishment. What? I pursed my lips into a smile and simply replied, guess what? My father was boiling with rage. And in a fit of anger, he raised his hand to strike me. I nimbly dodged his swing. I had stayed planted by the door since entering, ready for a quick exit. Seizing the moment while the three stood stunned, I spun around, dashed out, and frantically jabbed the elevator button. After dashing out of the neighborhood, I slapped myself hard across the face. Then I turned on my phone and recorded a video of myself sitting in the taxi. As I imported the freshly recorded clip to the drafts folder, an unknown text message popped up on my phone. It was from Lin Jinyan. If I'm suffering, you're going down with me. Lin Jinyan made my life miserable by dragging our parents into online accusations against me. Through sobs, she begged her sister to come home, claiming she'd forgive her for deliberately sabotaging her college entrance exams. Our parents wore expressions of utter family disgrace. 16, Lin Jinyan even bought trending spots. And soon, hashtags about me skyrocketed to the top of the hot search list. Hashtag classmatechingy hashtag. Hashtag Lin Qingyi scheming girl hashtag. Hashtag Lin Qingyi's sister got screwed hashtag. After the incident blew up, a bunch of people came asking me what happened. The internet moms in the group chat were furious. There's no way Qingyi would do something like that. Exactly, she's not even capable of pulling that off. Your trust in me moves me deeply, and honestly makes me feel a bit guilty, because Lin Jinyan only told this single truth the entire time. I was truly the one who prevented her from taking the college entrance exam. Riding this wave of attention, I posted the pre-recorded video to my personal account. All this time, I've kept silent about my family. It's not what everyone thinks about protecting privacy. It's because I come from an unfortunate family. The video contains photos I took and recordings I made, including my mother's slut-shaming remarks and how my parents favor Lin Jinyan. The video ends with the slap mark still visible on my face when I left home for the last time. I deliberately provoked Lin Jinyan and my parents. I've been planning for this day since my rebirth. Children pay a heavy price to morally distance themselves from their parents. Thankfully, my plan worked out. The video went viral immediately after posting. Parental favoritism is a common issue in multi-child households. Through my video, people began sharing their own relatable experiences. Making peace with oneself is a lifelong lesson for every child with family trauma. Thankfully, I've long outgrown the age of begging my parents for love. With video evidence, my parents' accusations against me lost all credibility. Lin Jinyan also caught considerable flack. The beauty system informed me that Lin Jinyan lost the academic prodigy system. Host, now that you've handled that issue, how do you plan to complete the mission? The beauty system seems puzzled. I barely even contact Su Lang these days, showing no intention to continue pursuing men. Fail the mission, and you'll lose everything just like Lin Jinyan did. I lowered my gaze with a faint smile. The mission will be completed. Of course, the account classmate Qingyi served as my test case for the assignment, and it confirmed my theory was right. There are countless ways to find true love in this world. The capacity to love me isn't exclusive to men. After securing partial equity from Su Huan's commitment, I channeled the funds into several investment projects. These are all projects I knew from past lives. Guaranteed moneymakers. Su Huan began systematically sidelining his father, consolidating control of the family business while offloading shady dealings onto the old man. 17. My father can rot in jail, not me. Besides, all that dirty work was his doing. I checked the legal code. None of it carries the death penalty. Let me think it through. Then I'll get my dad admitted. Well done, model son. No wonder we've been soulmates for 2 lifetimes. Professor Shilin's research findings were immediately implemented by Su Huan upon publication. In my past life, Fu Nianyu pursued me relentlessly for the Fu family's sake, and now in this life, he's obsessively chasing after Su Huan. See, this is how hypocritical a man's affection can be. If Lin Jinyan hadn't pinned her hopes on men so much, she probably wouldn't have lost her system for 2 lifetimes. The current Lin Jinyan never developed proper study habits. After losing her system's support, 2 years of retakes proved futile. She ended up hastily enrolling in a poorly reputed local college. Still unemployed, she now mooches off her parents. I once went back home and watched from a distance. Mom and Lin Jinyan were arguing at the neighborhood gate. Mom called her lazy and useless, saying we should have kept her sister instead. Lin Jinyan shot back mercilessly, saying she deserved it. This is what you owe me. You had it coming. I watched silently from behind the tree for a long time before walking away without a word. Lin Jinyan attempted suicide several times afterward but failed. Her mental state deteriorated, and she kept muttering about wanting to go back and make different choices. Sometimes I think Lin Jinyan and Mom are quite alike. They always shift blame onto others, never reflect on themselves, and simply avoid problems when they arise. If one can't face life's challenges head-on, it's understandable they'd end up with the wrong answers. After Lin Jinyan became like this, my parents repeatedly reached out to reconnect with me. They finally realized their younger daughter could no longer offer any benefits, while the eldest was thriving remarkably well, but they can hardly track me down these days. I'm too busy globetrotting while scouting potential projects. Su Huan called to ask, are you planning to sponsor new girls from mountain regions this year? Absolutely. As long as I'm breathing, I'll keep running this education foundation. For years I've invested in girls' protection initiatives, championed rural women's education, and sponsored countless children determined to change their fate through learning. Students I sponsor also get internship opportunities at Su Huan's company. These hardworking young women have thrived. 2 of Su Huan's top assistants today were actually scholars supported by my foundation. The mysterious figure said we only get one chance to choose, yet after leaving the mountain village, everyone's shining in their respective fields. Fortune favors the diligent. After establishing the foundation, my mission objectives were gradually accomplished. This world has never lacked genuine love. The children I've sponsored have all given me their most sincere affection. On the day the final mission was completed, the beauty system bid me a solemn farewell. You're the most unconventional host I've ever encountered, but I genuinely adore you. May your future shine just as brightly. I'm not sure if this counts as a rags to riches story, but I know this, even without the beauty system's enhancements, I'll live my life to the fullest. Story 2, Song Lian and I were reborn at the same time. Just like in his previous life, he came to marry me full of anticipation, but I refused. Song Lian was stunned. Why, we've been happily married for 50 years. I shook my head indifferently. After being called Mrs. Song all my life, I also want to have my own name. Song Lian didn't understand and thought I was throwing a tantrum. Without me, what else can you do? You wouldn't even be qualified to sweep the streets. He was waiting for me to regret it, after waiting for many years. He watched helplessly as I reached the peak, becoming someone he could no longer reach. The day Song Lian was appointed as an honorary professor at the university happened to be our 50th wedding anniversary. Our 2 sons made arrangements and held a lively celebration party at home. During the dinner, a young female reporter interviewed me. Mrs. Song, if there is a next life, would you still be willing to marry Professor Song? She was only in her early 20s, full of vitality. Her deer-like eyes swept over the wedding rings on Song Lian's and my fingers, and her eyes were filled with yearning for love. I knew what she meant. Song Lian and I were well-known affectionate couple, and the media had reported on us several times. We were college classmates. During the educated youth movement, we were also in the same rural area. We stayed together through 60 years of trials and tribulations. I took care of our 2 children, managed household affairs, and looked after Song Lian's sick mother. Song Lian devoted himself to his career. Starting as an unknown poor student, he became a professor at a prestigious university, joined the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and acquired a great many honorary titles, with the man handling external affairs and the woman taking care of the household. It was a textbook-style marital model. Everyone thought I was very lucky. My husband had a successful career, and both of our sons graduated from prestigious universities and had good jobs and promising futures, but no one knew that beneath the glamorous exterior was a woman's life that went unnoticed. All these years, I hadn't been happy. I opened my mouth, and before I could speak, Song Lian had pushed through with a wine glass in hand, forcefully interrupting me. Of course she would. She has had a wonderful life. Our two sons also joined in the teasing. Mom was extremely lucky to marry Dad. Grandpa always said that our family's ancestral grave must have been emitting auspicious smoke. If there is a next life, Mom definitely won't let Dad get away. Song Lian twitched the corners of his mouth, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes squeezed together, revealing a doting smile. I won't be able to get away. Your mother is very good at pestering people. The female reporter's eyes lit up, and she let out an exclamation. Professor Song. Does that mean Mrs. Song pursued you back then? I was the one who pursued Song Lian. This fact had been reported by the media. The female reporter must have done her homework, so she couldn't possibly not know. When Song Lian heard her ask this, he pursed his lips proudly and repeated the same old story that he had told hundreds of times. I took the initiative to bring him meals and wash his clothes. When he was sick, I helped him with farm work. Since I took the initiative in this relationship, Song Lian had always been in a superior position, and I had to serve him all my life. This was what I deserved. The female reporter giggled and exclaimed, in those days, Mrs. Song was so brave, too. The word brave sounded surprisingly harsh to my ears. Ever since I married Song Lian, I had nothing to do with these two words. My mother-in-law was a shrewd and domineering woman, living together as a big family. Our habits in daily life, from food, clothing, housing to transportation, all had to follow their rules, from the arrangement of furniture to the pillowcases and quilts in the room, and even which fabric I chose to make clothes. I had no say. This indigo fabric is old-fashioned and ugly. Wear the blue one tomorrow. I put it on your bedside, dear. This table lamp was placed on the bedside table just fine. Why did you move it to the chest? I kept hitting it when I waved my hand at night, and I was afraid it would break. Then be more careful. It's better to keep the table lamp on the bedside table. It's convenient for getting up at night. My mother-in-law put the table lamp back on the bedside table. Her narrow eyes squinted as she looked around the bedroom. She also opened the wardrobe door and rearranged the clothes according to her habits. Your pants can't be placed on top of Song Lian's. If a woman overpowers a man, how can that be good, Guan Yue? It's not that I'm criticizing you, but you're really not careful enough in your work. At first, I wasn't used to it and protested to Song Lian. He frowned and looked at me in surprise. Mom is doing this for our own good. Can't you just be more accommodating? Mom is older, and she knows more about these household matters than you. Just listen to her. In those days, people's thinking was conservative, and I didn't dare to contradict my mother-in-law, so I gave in. All these years, I endured my mother-in-law's dominance, Song Lian's nitpicking, the naughtiness of our two sons, and the contradict from my daughters-in-law. I gave in my whole life. In my small world, I endured step by step and retreated step by step. Finally, I shrank into a corner, living like a mere shell, and they called this a blessed life. Facing the yearning and envy in the young female reporter's eyes, I really couldn't bear to let her live in a false fantasy. 3. No, I wouldn't. I raised my voice and shook my head firmly. I don't want to marry Song Lian again, after being called Mrs. Song all my life. If I could live my life again, I also want to have my own name. The lively banquet hall fell silent instantly. The people around turned to look at me in surprise. The female reporter widened her eyes, clearly not expecting this answer. The smile on Song Lian's lips froze. He shrugged helplessly and held my hand tightly. This old woman. We had a little quarrel yesterday, and she's still angry. Look at you. How old are you? Everyone laughed, and the atmosphere at the dinner table became relaxed again. Our two sons shook their heads and complained, that's just Mom's temper. It's all thanks to Dad's tolerance. Mom, in front of so many people, you should give Dad some face. The youngest son shrugged. Mom has been spoiled by Dad. Everyone praised us, saying that Professor Song and his wife were so affectionate and were still acting like young lovers having a quarrel. Song Lian pulled me into the quiet study, closed the door, and the smiling expression on his face instantly turned cold. Guan Yue, what do you mean? Are you deliberately provoking me? He turned to look outside the glass door and lowered his voice. Is it because of the other day when I asked you to cook noodles for Zhou Hafeng? Look, she's already married. There's really nothing between us. Can't you be more magnanimous? Zhou Hafeng was one of Song Lian's female students. She was intoxicated by the extensive knowledge and refined demeanor of this tutor and once pursued Song Lian very passionately. Song Lian was tempted. He watched movies with Zhou Hafeng, accompanied her to the cafeteria for meals every day, patiently guided her with her studies, and even added her name to his long, prepared thesis. but that was all. Song Lian had a sense of measure. He had 2 sons. A wife who had accompanied him for most of his life, a stable family, a decent job, and a good reputation. He knew very well what was important and what was not. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, he coldly rejected Zhou Hafeng and even invited her to our home as a guest. Watching him cook in the kitchen with me and attentively tie an apron for me, Zhou Hafeng rushed out of our house crying. Later, she transferred schools at lightning speed and completely disappeared from our lives, until last year. When Zhou Hafeng's husband was transferred to Song Lian's school, they resumed contact. With the passage of time, they tacitly avoided mentioning the past. When Zhou Hafeng and her husband visited our home and talked about the past during the dinner, Zhou Hafeng smiled and said, "The pork rib noodles made by the teacher's wife are extremely delicious. I used to share the teacher's lunch, and I still remember it vividly." "That's nothing," Song Lian waved his hand. "Guanyue, go and make her a bowl of noodles." For, at that time, there was no real wrongdoing between them, and our sons were still young. Song Lian came home and told me that the female student was pestering him and asked me to help deal with the situation. So, I didn't hold it against him, but that didn't mean I was magnanimous enough to cook for her. Song Lian reached out and grasped my shoulders. "I knew it was about this. In the end, you made an excuse of having a headache and refused to do it, and I didn't say anything, right? I didn't hold it against you, but now you're throwing a tantrum." Song Lian sighed. As Bolin said, "You've really been spoiled by me. In front of so many people, you didn't give me any face." After a while, the youngest son also quietly came to the study and complained to me, "Mom, the older you get, the more childish you become. You should know when to throw a tantrum. How can Dad face others after what you said? When you go out later, smooth things over and say." Looking at my son who was chattering and lecturing me, I felt a bit dazed. In the blink of an eye, Bolin had grown so big. From the little boy who clung to me all the time, he had grown into a man who had established his own family and career. He had his own career and his own ideas. He no longer called me Mom as he used to. Mom is just a useless housewife, has a job, well, the school arranged it out of respect for Dad, it's just a sinecure, and she only works half a day. Dad is the most amazing one. Mom raised us well. That's because of our good genes. We're smart, just like Dad. Dad is the one who works the hardest. Mom is just here to enjoy the good life. So, Mom's thoughts don't matter at all. 5. I felt very disappointed and didn't want to agree with my son anymore. "I'm not throwing a tantrum." I raised my voice and repeated word by word, "If I could do it all over again, I just want to live alone." Bolin didn't understand. "Why, Dad treats you so well." "As I said just now, I want to have my own name and my own career." Bolin sneered. "Your own career? Mom, what can you do? You can't even make a pancake without burning it." Song Lian also shook his head. "You're just talking big. Without me, what else can you do? Sweep the streets." The father and son exchanged a look and smiled tacitly. Bolin patted Song Lian on the shoulder. "They say that the older people get, the more childlike their temper becomes. Look at Mom." Song Lian twitched the corners of his mouth. "Yes, she's getting old and confused. As a family of respectable people, we wouldn't quarrel at the banquet, so the matter was dropped." At night, when the party was over, Song Lian took a shower and, as usual, lay in bed reading a book. After reading a few pages, he suddenly put down the book. "Guanyue. About what happened during the day, were you serious? Do you really not want to be with me in the future?" I shook my head again. Song Lian was stunned, and his eyes flickered slightly. After a moment, he stroked the back of my wrinkled hand with his rough fingers. "I did have a moment of weakness, but over all these years, you know my character. Guanyue, the only person I've ever cared about is you. That was my mistake. We're both getting old, can you stop holding on to it?" Song Lian rarely admitted his mistakes, and he was only willing to do so in this matter. Once he admitted his mistake, I had to accept it, otherwise, I would be the one being unreasonable. But this time, I didn't want to accommodate him anymore. "It has nothing to do with that. I just want to live alone and have some peace." Song Lian was angry. "What do you dislike about me? Aren't I good enough? When you go out, everyone addresses you as Mrs. Song. What more do you want?" "I don't want others to call me Mrs. Song. I have a name, I'm Guanyue." I couldn't help raising my voice. "I don't want to be your appendage." Song Lian was stunned for a moment and then exclaimed in surprise, "I get it. You're jealous of me. You see that I got the honorary professorship, and you're envious." As he spoke, he burst out laughing. "You're just a woman who cooks at home. Do you also want to be a professor? Now I know why you've been acting so strangely today, alright. That's enough of your empty talk, don't I know you? You're even afraid of a mouse. Without me, you can't do anything, Song Lian concluded with a laugh. If you could do it all over again and didn't choose me, you would surely suffer a great deal. With your intelligence, you can't even do housework properly, and you want to be a professor. It's only me who can spoil you. Don't be ungrateful. I was ill-affected. You always say I'm stupid. Don't you remember that we were college classmates? I was one of the earliest female college students in that era. How could I be stupid? Song Lian sneered disdainfully. You were just lucky. If it weren't for the educated youth movement that started a year after you entered college, with your limited knowledge, you wouldn't even have been able to get a college diploma. Alright, I'm too lazy to argue about these useless things. Go to sleep. 6. Song Lian turned off the light. I was plunged into darkness. He always liked to call me stupid. I'm from the south. I'm not good at kneading dough. I don't know how to pickle cabbage. And I'm not good at lighting the Kong, a traditional heated brick bed in northern China. My mother-in-law said that a stupid daughter-in-law like me was only suitable for their family. In other families with a bad-tempered mother-in-law, I would have been kicked out long ago. Song Lian tried to smooth things over, saying that I was a fool who was lucky. The more he said it, the more it seemed to become an established fact. When our children were admitted to prestigious universities, they also said that they inherited their intelligence from their father. If they were like me, it would have been a disaster. I didn't understand how I had ended up like this. Back then, I was the first female college student in our village. When I received the admission notice, I felt that the whole world was at my feet. I was full of pride. How did I become such an ordinary and incompetent housewife? In the dark, I quietly shed tears. Just like countless ordinary nights, I sat up half the night, lost in memories of the past and endless regret, until there was a faint light in the distance. Dawn was breaking. It was time for me to get up and make breakfast. Today, our 2 sons were bringing their grandchildren to visit. My grandson loves the buns I make the most. My granddaughter likes the preserved egg congee I cook. My daughter-in-law, who studied abroad, likes sandwiches, and Song Lian likes hand-pulled noodles. The whole family has different tastes, and it will take a long time to prepare. I lifted the quilt and sat up. A familiar yet strange figure burst into the room. Oh, what time is it? Song Lian coughed all night yesterday. How could you still be sleeping? Get up quickly. You have to help him finish his work points today. The middle-aged woman was wearing a red floral jacket, with a black hairpin securing her hair. Her cheeks were ruddy and plump, and her eyes were narrow and long. She was holding a wooden basin in her arms, and the dirty clothes inside were piled high. Wash these clothes on your way. I still have a lot of work to do in the fields. And I'm too busy. I stared at that unfamiliar yet vaguely familiar face for a while, feeling greatly shocked in my heart. Mother-in-law. My mother-in-law had been dead for more than a decade. Only after she passed away did I live a somewhat easier life for a few years. How could I see her again? I looked around. It was a rough earthen house, with a wooden table that had a lame leg, and the windows were pasted with dusty newspapers. Was this nanny village in the 1970s? Realizing that I had been reborn, I sat numbly on the bed, with a complex mix of emotions welling up in my heart. Seeing that I didn't move, my mother-in-law came over and pushed me. What are you standing there for, you fool? You were stupid when you were young. I don't know what my son saw in you. My mother-in-law urged me impatiently. Hurry up, wash the clothes first and then come find me in the fields. After saying that, she left in a hurry. I followed her. Walking out of the room in a daze, not far outside the door was a well. Several young women wearing headscarves were squatting by the well washing clothes. They were pounding the clothes with wooden pestles while chatting loudly. Is Song Lian sick again? He's an educated youth from the city. He has the body of a young master. So delicate. What's so delicate about it? It's been 7 years since he came to the countryside, right? He still hasn't adapted. Poor Guanyue, that silly girl. Has to do work for his family again. What's so pitiful about it? With Song Lian's good looks and the fact that he's educated, if it weren't for his difficult mother, I'd also ask my daughter to wash his clothes. I stopped in my tracks. 7 years in the countryside. I went to the countryside when I was 19 and married Song Lian when I was 27. Now it's the 7th year in the countryside, which means Song Lian and I aren't married yet. How dare they order me around like this then? 8. I tried to recall carefully. Since too much time had passed, I couldn't remember it very clearly. Back then, I finally managed to get into university from the poor countryside. I had just studied for 1 year when a special era came. All college students stopped their studies and went to the countryside to support rural construction. Song Lian and I were assigned to Nanny Village in Shaanxi. Song Lian was lucky. This village happened to be his mother's hometown. His father died early. When his mother saw that her son had returned to his hometown, she immediately packed her bags and came along. With the care of 3 uncles in the village, Song Lian's life was much better than that of other educated youths. At first, I didn't want to marry him. I still wanted to go back to school. Back then, despite the ridicule and disdain from those around me, I would read books under the kitchen stove by the light of a kerosene lamp every day after washing the clothes. My mother quarreled with my father and then with my grandmother every day because of me. She was like a fighting rooster, arguing with everyone, just to protect my unrealistic dream. The day I received the admission notice, she was so happy that she shed tears. She looked at the notice over and over again and pressed it under the bedside table with frosted glass. I knew our little girl would make it. She got into university and will become a city person in the future, having a job with the government. She won't have to do farm work in the fields anymore. No one expected that after putting in so much effort. I just ended up moving from a rural area in the south to the north. I was still working in the fields, still doing farm work. As the sun rose and set, I raised my head from the yellow earth and looked at my rough palms. Suddenly, I found that the formulas and poems that I used to know by heart were as hazy as the moon in the water. The college life in the ivory tower seemed to have become a distant dream. At that time, everyone thought they couldn't go back. There were slogans and mottos all over the walls, saying that we should build the desolate nanny into an oasis in the northwest. How could we go back if we didn't build it? This was even something that couldn't be accomplished within 1 generation. I began to accept my fate and face the reality. In the village, I thought Song Lian was more to my liking, and we could talk well together, so I got close to him, tried to please him, and finally married him as I wished. Unexpectedly, just 1 year after we got married, the policy suddenly changed, and all of us educated youths could return to the city, and we would even be assigned jobs. However, there were more people than available jobs. The first batch of job positions was in short supply, and we had to queue up and wait. Originally, I also had a chance. By chance, I was pregnant at that time. The comrade in the office looked at me with a expression, "Comrade Guanyue, this position is very tough. You have to go to the workshop every day and be busy until midnight. You often have to climb those high iron frames. In your situation, it's not suitable. You should wait a bit. In the next batch, I'll arrange an easier job for you." When the next batch of jobs came, my eldest son was born. My mother-in-law, who had always been strong and healthy, suddenly suffered from a headache. She couldn't touch cold water and couldn't stand noise. I could only take care of the child myself and gave up the opportunity again. Then, I gave birth to my second son. The 2 noisy boys drained all my energy, and I no longer had any ambition. When the children were a bit older and sent to the nursery, my mother-in-law suddenly had a stroke. In those days, we couldn't hire a nanny. Otherwise, we would be cursed with gossip, saying that you were a landlady or a reactionary. I could only take care of my mother-in-law. In those few years, I bought groceries, cooked, washed clothes, fetched medicine, wiped my mother-in-law's body, picked up the 2 children from school, supervised them doing their homework, tidied up the messy home, washed them and put them to bed. By then, it was already midnight. The days repeated mechanically. When I suddenly realized it, I saw a strange face in the mirror, half-white hair, deep wrinkles at the corners of my eyes, no more vitality on my face, and my empty eyes were full of weariness and numbness. I had suddenly grown old. How did time pass so quickly? It seemed that I had done a lot of things, but it also seemed that I had done nothing. In my pale and empty life, I lived as someone else's daughter-in-law, someone else's wife, and someone else's mother, but not as myself. The higher Song Lian status became, the less I had my own name. Everyone called me Mrs. Song. What about Guanyue? 9. Guanyue, Guanyue. The wooden pestle came down heavily, pounding the dirty coarse cloth clothes whose color couldn't be distinguished. The water splashed onto the surface of my shoes. Sister Chunfang winked at me. What are you standing there for? Come and wash the clothes together. I saw Song Lian's mother bring you a big basin. Come quickly. If you don't hurry up, you won't be able to finish washing them. Aunt Ho-Hop beside her pursed her lips. She really has the nerve. You're not even married yet, and she's already ordering you around like this. Guanyue, It's not that I'm criticizing you, but you have too good a temper, you'll suffer if you marry into their family. We should play hard to get and maintain some dignity. Another auntie beside them burst into laughter. You're almost 30, an old girl, what dignity are you still maintaining? It's already good that someone wants you, not to mention washing clothes. Even if she asks you to wash underpants, you'll rush to do it. I stared at her for a moment and remembered that she was Jing Tieju's mother. A few years ago, she had asked a matchmaker to propose marriage to me, but I refused. So she held a grudge and would find opportunities to say sarcastic things from time to time. I smiled at her. Let whoever wants to wash them do it. I don't have that spare time. After saying that, I picked up the hoe, held my head high, bypassed the well, and walked towards the collective field in the north. Tieju's mother was stunned for a moment and spat hard. Pa, what are you pretending for? When Song Lian's mother loses her temper later, you'll be crying. Song Lian's mother was wielding a hoe and working vigorously in the field. Seeing me come so early, she stopped in surprise, wiped the sweat off with her headscarf. Did you wash the clothes so quickly? Did you wash them carelessly? Did you use the pestle? You have to scrub off those mud stains. It's not that not that I'm criticizing you, Guan Yue. You should be more careful when you work. Why are you always so careless? The others in the field continued with their farm work. But they all pricked up their ears and looked at this side with a gossipy expression. Under the gaze of everyone, I carried the hoe and walked towards the few acres of land I was in charge of. Mrs. Song, if you want something done, do it yourself. Only by working for yourself can you have enough food and clothing. From now on, you can do the work of your own family. I'll save my energy for building nanny village. I'm not a long-term laborer of your Song family. In those days, no one could refute the words in the quotations. When Mrs. Song heard me say this, her face immediately turned red with anger. She stammered you a few times. Finally, she slapped her thigh and cursed. Don't you want to marry Song Lian anymore? My son is sick, as his future wife. What's wrong with sharing some of the work? Don't put labels on me casually. Our Song family won't want a lazy woman. Mrs. Song shouted loudly. When the villagers saw this, they came over to persuade me one after another. They said that she just had such an impatient temper. Since I was going to live a good life with Song Lian in the future, I shouldn't talk back to my mother-in-law. I sneered. Mother-in-law, Song Lian and I are innocent. What kind of mother-in-law is she? Since everyone is here today, I'll make it clear. Song Lian and I only have the friendship of revolutionary comrades. I will definitely not marry him. As soon as I said this, everyone was greatly surprised. In the 1960s and 1970s, although arranged marriages were the mainstream in rural areas, free love was also becoming popular, especially in places like construction bases where there were many young people. Everyone knew that Song Lian and I were in a relationship. Mrs. Song had even found a marriage officiant and said that after the first month of the Lunar New Year, during the slack season in agriculture, she would arrange the wedding of Song Lian and me. Now that they heard me flatly deny it, everyone felt that something was wrong. Some people advised me, saying that it was understandable for young couples to have conflicts, but I couldn't talk nonsense in front of everyone. Song Lian had good looks and character and was very popular in the village. If I really made him angry and he left, I would regret it. Mrs. Song was so angry that she stamped her feet. I haven't disliked you yet, but you're being picky. My son will be very successful in the future. Many city girls are eager to marry him. What right do you have to say you won't marry? We don't even want to marry you. She had always been hot-tempered. When she was extremely angry, she slapped her thigh and could curse out all kinds of unpleasant words. Seeing the commotion, some busybodies had already run to find Song Lian. Just as well, you don't want to marry me off. And I don't want to marry, in the future. Don't mention the matter between Song Lian and me. After saying this, I turned around and saw Song Lian standing on the ridge of the field. His young and energetic face had a familiar doting smile in his eyes. The next second, the smile froze on his face. Song Lian's face turned pale, and he staggered back a step. Guan Yue, are you still angry with me? Seeing his expression, I knew that Song Lian had also been reborn. After being together for 50 years, we knew each other too well. His posture, movements, eyes, and the scholarly air that came from living a comfortable life and being untouched by the world. As his students said, Professor Song looked noble, while Mrs. Song was different. I saw her bargaining with others at the vegetable market the other day. She was so vulgar. Song Lian was not only good-looking but also had an extraordinary temperament. Standing on the ridge of the field in a green military uniform, he was like a tall pine tree, making it impossible for the people beside him to look away. The crowd whispered in disgust, "Why does Song Lian seem different from before?" "I think so too, he's especially handsome today. No wonder Guan Yue is so eager for him." "She's not eager. Didn't she just say that she doesn't want to marry Song Lian? Is she bragging?" "She's throwing a tantrum now. With Mrs. Song's character, she'll probably have to kneel to get Song Lian back later." As soon as her son came, Mrs. Song had someone to rely on and became even more arrogant. "Guan Yue, my Song Lian is right here. Do you have the guts to say those words again in front of him?" I had already lowered my head and was waving the hoe vigorously. The hard soil mixed with broken ice was lifted up, and my words also splashed into Song Lian's heart like ice shavings. "I, Guan Yue, will definitely not marry Song Lian in this life." I didn't look at him again. I only heard Song Lian coughing loudly, and his mother rushed over to support him excitedly. The crowd helped to take Song Lian back to the room, and the noise gradually faded away. After I finished my farm work, I watched Accountant Yu record my work points for me. Accountant Yu joked with me, "Why did you suddenly break up with Song Lian, girl? Could it be that you're reluctant to part with the work points you've been doing every day?" As he spoke, he flipped through the booklet and exclaimed that Song Lian had been sick for 10 days this month, but his work points were still full. As for me, I only had half of the work points. I was afraid that I wouldn't even have enough to eat. I had an idea in my mind. "Accountant Yu, the work points are only settled at the end of the month. Can the work points I did for Song Lian before be recorded back in my own account?" Accountant Yu was surprised. "Wow, you two have quite a big conflict, don't you?" "Are you serious?" "Yes, I won't help him with his work anymore in the future." Hearing my firm answer, Accountant Yu hesitated for a moment and then nodded in agreement. "All right, others may be afraid of the Jingning's 3 brothers, but I'm not. Uncle will stand up for you in this matter. If Mrs. Song doesn't agree, let her come and argue with me." The Jingning's 3 brothers were Song Lian's uncles. They were all tall and had some influence in the village. However, people in this era were still quite simple in their thinking. At most, they would take a small advantage and wouldn't make things difficult for others in important matters. After getting a positive answer, I felt greatly relieved. Being able to have enough to eat was the most important thing in this era. After a day of hard work, I returned home. As expected, Song Lian was waiting for me at the door. He clenched his fists and looked around warily. There were too many people just now, and it wasn't convenient to talk. "Guan Yue, shall we go in and talk?" I nodded. Song Lian followed me into the room. He coughed a few times and commanded me familiarly, "Pour me a glass of water." I stood still and didn't move. Song Lian was stunned for a moment and then smiled bitterly. "You've also been reborn, right? I knew it the first time I saw you just now. You had a very good temper when you were young. It's not like this at all. It's all because I spoiled you. How long are you going to be willful?" I frowned when I heard this. "Song Lian, I've told you several times, I'm not throwing a tantrum. I want to live my own life. I want to work, and I want to continue my academic research. I don't want to be trapped at home giving birth, taking care of children, and serving your mother. Don't you understand?" Song Lian sneered, seeing my displeased expression. He quickly pursed his lips and raised his hands as if in surrender. "You're just used to living a good life. Do you think working is that comfortable? Do you think doing academic research is that easy? You can even burn a pancake, and you can't remember what vegetables to buy. What else can you?" I interrupted Song Lian. "If you say any more nonsense, get out." Song Lian sighed. "You're like a child. I can't reason with you." "All right, if you want to work so much, then go work for 2 years. You'll still come crying to me in the end." I pushed him impatiently. "I have nothing to say to you. Get out. I want to read a book." Song Lian took the opportunity to grab my wrist and smiled. "Guan Yu, I'm almost forgetting what you looked like when you were young. Let me take a closer look at you again." Under the dim light, his eyebrows and eyes were filled with a gentle look, still carrying the old friendship. My heart suddenly skipped a few beats. After being married for so many years, it would be a lie to say that I have no feelings for Song Lian. It was precisely these tender moments that supported me through year after year of dull and boring marriage. Whenever I was unhappy, looking at Song Lian's face, most of my anger would dissipate. But this is also the biggest difference between him and me. When there were conflicts, after Song Lian coaxed me, I would give in, and life would return to its peaceful state. It seems that Song Lian would never give in because of me. He would say touching love words with the most gentle expression on his face, but what he handed over was a soft knife. Just listen to Mom, go and apologize to him. This sum of money must be lent to my younger brother. Just do it for my sake, okay? The poison was wrapped in icing, and the knife was wrapped in a beautiful ribbon. One knife after another cut off my edges and corners and smoothed out my self-esteem. I thought that was love. Only after living a whole life did I see clearly that it was just a means for men to achieve their goals. Looking at Song Lian's face leaning towards me, I took a deep breath and slapped him hard on the cheek. Are you being a pervert? Get out. I pushed Song Lian out of the door and closed the door tightly. Song Lian is a person with extremely strong self-esteem. In all these years of marriage, even when we quarreled, I had never shouted at him. I just spoke a little more quickly. Let alone hitting him. Now that he had been slapped by me, he was so angry that he didn't show up in front of me for several days. I also got some peace and quiet. I went to work on time every day and read books by the light of an oil lamp at night. I read and reread those college textbooks over and over again. The young mind is really efficient. I could memorize them after reading them a few times. I'm not the fool who can't do anything, as Song Lian said. I was filled with excitement and became more and more yearning for the life back in Beijing. Until the end of the month, the peace was broken. Song Lian's mother came to the door aggressively. I was reading a book in front of the lamp when she snatched the book from my hand and cursed, "You heartless woman, you took away Song Lian's work points. What will he eat? He treats you so well, and you don't even care about his well-being. Do you really not want to marry him?" My face turned cold. I've said it many times, I have nothing to do with him. Please don't bother me in the future. Song Lian's mother was so angry that she was shaking, and her finger almost poked at the tip of my nose. Guan Yu, you're crazy. Have you considered Baiwen and Belan when you do this? If you don't marry Song Lian, how can you get pregnant next year? And how can Baiwen be reincarnated? I was stunned. Are you reborn too? No wonder. I vaguely remembered that before I married Song Lian. His mother was quite polite to me and didn't order me around so arrogantly and take it for granted that I should do the work. Song Lian's mother nodded angrily. Yes, I also have the memories of my previous life. To be honest, I don't think much of you at all. My Song Lian is so promising. I can have any daughter-in-law I want. It's just for the sake of my 2 grandsons that I agreed to let him marry you again. But look at you, you're putting on airs. You don't want to marry my son, a great professor. Who else do you want to marry? I don't want to marry anyone. I want to go back to Beijing and continue working. I had repeated these words several times and had already lost my patience. Can't Song Lian marry another woman? Can you please stop bothering me? Seeing my tough attitude, Song Lian's mother rolled her eyes and her tone softened again. You're still angry about the fact that I didn't agree to take care of Baiwen, right? I really have a headache. It's not fake. If you really want to work, it's okay. First, get married, have the baby, and this time I'll take good care of my health and help you take care of the child. I pointed my finger towards the door. If you don't go out, I'll call for help. Let's see how long you can be so stubborn. Seeing that I wouldn't be swayed by either soft or harsh words, Song Lian's mother angrily cursed at me and left in a huff. From that day on, I never did any work for Song Lian again. I earned my own work points and filled my own stomach. Song Lian's mother scolded me a few times. After being stopped by Song Lian, she would only roll her eyes at me when she saw me and would gossip about me with Tieju's mother. Song Lian came to find me many times. At first, he gave a bitter smile when facing my cold expression, but later he gradually became impatient. You're really going too far with your temper, Guan Yu. My patience also has its limits. Don't you regret it later? I didn't even bother to say a single word to him. Half a year passed by in the blink of an eye. Soon, I received a notice from Beijing. The educated youths who had gone to the countryside could finally return to the city. This time, my job opportunity came after Song Lian's. Just like in his previous life, he chose an easy job and became a teacher at a high school. I could only go to the chemical factory and do the hardest and most tiring work at the grassroots level in the workshop. Song Lian frowned. Director Zhou, this isn't appropriate, is it? She's a woman, and the workshop has a strong smell. What's she doing at the grassroots level? Please look again. Is there any easier position? Song Lian was used to being a professor, and he still hadn't changed his bossy tone. When Director Zhou heard this, he immediately became unhappy. Hey! Do you think this is your home? You can decide what job to take. Are you the mayor or the secretary of the party committee? There are plenty of people queuing up behind, take it or leave it, I quickly interrupted. Director Zhou, I'm willing to do this job. Don't pay attention to him. Before I could finish speaking, Song Lian pulled me out of the office. Guan Yu, there should be a limit to your nonsense. Song Lian had a serious expression and lectured me as he used to. The workshop of the chemical factory is not good for your health. Don't you want to get pregnant in the next few years? Baiwen is waiting for us. It was all about getting pregnant and Baiwen again. I completely lost my patience. Song Lian, are you crazy? I've said it, I won't marry you. There's no Baiwen, no Balan, there's only me. Can't you understand human language? Song Lian was furious. Over this past year, I've tolerated you time and time again. I agreed that you could work. But you can't be so selfish. Don't you even want the child? What on earth do you want to do? What did I want to do? I just wanted to be myself. Looking at Song Lian with a fierce expression, I only felt a deep sense of powerlessness welling up from the bottom of my heart. Song Lian always said that a husband's glory and a son's future were my crown, but I knew clearly that they weren't. They belonged to them, and in fact, I had nothing. Since getting married, I had been reduced to nothing. Becoming their nourishment, they sucked my blood, took up all of my time and energy, and bloomed dazzling flowers. Everyone could only see the flowers. Who would care about the soil in the pot? Occasionally, someone would praise, saying that this soil was good for raising people. Should I be grateful for that? Originally, I could have been a blooming flower too. Song Lian was still chattering in my ear, accusing me of being selfish and heartless. I could only raise my hand. Don't force me to slap you in public. Song Lian was shocked and finally shut up. I got the job as I wished. From then on, he was glorious and decent as a teacher. I was in a sorry state, becoming an ordinary female worker in the workshop of the chemical factory who wore a mask all day long and was covered in dust. When Song Lian's mother found out, she almost burst out laughing. I knew it. What could she achieve? In her previous life, she benefited from you, but she didn't cherish it. How hard it is in that chemical factory. Just wait, she won't be able to hold on for 3 months and will come crying and begging us to marry her. She was wrong. I stayed in the chemical factory for 2 years, while working hard. I also prepared for the postgraduate entrance examination. I originally majored in chemical engineering in college, and I worked hard and actively. I was always rated as a March 8th Red Banner pace setter every time, after being admitted to postgraduate school. The factory decided to send me to study at public expense. Coincidentally, Song Lian also took the postgraduate entrance examination of Huaqing University, and we met again on the university campus. Song Lian was very surprised. Guan Yu, why are you here? You came to find me, right? You knew I was studying here. Song Lian looked me up and down and puffed out his chest a little proudly. In my previous life, the school I attended was much worse than Huaqing University. Not just anyone can come here. After finishing my master's degree, I'm going to stay here as a teacher. I will go further than in my previous life. What about you? Couldn't you stand it in the factory anymore? Song Lian curled the corners of his mouth. I told you, it's quite impressive that you could hold on for 2 years. There were many lush trees by the lotus pond, spreading out a green dome above Song Lian's head. The mottled branches and leaves cast crisscrossed shadows above his handsome brow bones. Song Lian smiled and slowly reached out his hand to me. Over these 2 years, I've been waiting for you. As long as you obediently admit your mistake, my mother. The bell rang, and I hurriedly pushed him away. Class is starting. Excuse me. Behind me, Song Lian was left with an expression of shock that was out of control. Song Lian finally accepted the reality and admitted that I was also a postgraduate student of Huaqing University at the annual freshman assembly. As a representative, I went on stage to give a speech. Under the spotlight, for the first time, it was me standing on the stage while he sat in the audience, squinting his eyes and looking at me with a look full of confusion and disbelief. In 2 lifetimes, he finally saw me. He no longer regarded me as an accessory, no longer looked down on me, but treated me as an equal, and even looked up at me a little. Looking at me from below, Song Lian was quite emotional. Guan Yu, I think I know what you want. You've always been a competitive person. I shouldn't have said those things to you. I said you were stupid, but actually I liked you in my heart. Now, I admit that you're not stupid at all. Your postgraduate entrance examination score is much higher than mine. You're very capable. I admit that you're smart. Is that okay? Weren't your efforts over these years just to prove this to me? I held my books and walked around him. Song Lian, you don't understand at all. I didn't do it for you to see. this is not enough. It's far from enough. I want the whole world to see me. Song Lian stood there, stunned. After a moment, on the news, I even forgot about the tea I was pouring, and the hot water poured onto Song Lian's hand. The Institute of Chemistry of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. It's the highest place that every chemistry student can reach. I really envied that. Song Lian thought I was looking at Lin Jiaxi and was so angry that he jumped up and down. How old are you? Aren't you ashamed to look at a young man like that? Now, decades of speculation had been confirmed. Song Lian's face turned pale, and his lips were trembling with anger. You've been thinking about him for so long. You're simply. Lin Jiaxi was very lucky. During the turbulent years, he was in junior high school. Classes were suspended, and he wandered around the streets having fun. He didn't waste so many years in the countryside like us. He was still young when he was studying for a postgraduate degree and was in his prime. We were in the same class. Whenever he saw me, he would always call me senior sister respectfully. Senior sister. I've saved the seat for you. Are we still reading until 9 o'clock today? Shall I go and get your dinner? Song Lian rushed over and grabbed his collar. Guan Yu is my wife, you little gigolo. Don't even think about it. Lin Jiaxi didn't show any weakness and punched him in the nose. Who's a gigolo? You're the gigolo. Are you crazy? The two of them got into a fight. As expected, each of them was scolded. Fortunately, they didn't receive any punishment because they admitted their mistakes sincerely. Lin Jiaxi also learned about the past between me and Song Lian in the countryside because of this. He was very disdainful of it. What a small-minded person. A man like this should be dumped. I regarded this as the most ordinary little episode, but Song Lian was greatly affected by it and almost couldn't recover. Originally, I had told him many times that I wasn't interested in him and didn't want to marry him. He never took it seriously, but when Lin Jiaxi appeared, he completely believed it. Perhaps, in his opinion, the only thing that could defeat a man was another man. Song Lian completely broke down and blocked me downstairs in the dormitory with red eyes. Guan Yu, his voice was choked with sobs, and he was crying so hard that he could hardly speak. 50 years of marriage. You tell me, do you really not care about me at all? Weren't we happy together? How could you fall in love with someone else? How could you? It's me who's a professor. I didn't despise you for being stupid or incompetent. Why are you the one abandoning me? His high self-esteem was shattered into pieces, and he couldn't bear it. I just looked at him calmly. I'm not stupid, and I'm not incompetent either. You think I'm stupid because in the name of love, you confined me to the fields I wasn't good at and forced me to do things I wasn't good at. I served your whole family, old and young. For 50 years, it's you who were happy, not me. Song Lian clenched his fists. You weren't happy, over all these years. How have I wronged you? Didn't I starve you? Didn't I provide for your food and clothing? It was ridiculous. Originally, I could have had my own job. No matter whom I married, I wouldn't starve myself. How could he think that the things I originally had were his gifts? When the conversation is not going well, even half a sentence is too much. I was too lazy to pay attention to Song Lian anymore. I went back to the dormitory and went to bed early. My roommate said that he had stood downstairs for most of the night and asked me to go and persuade him. It's so windy outside. Don't let him get sick from the wind. The stronger the wind, the better. Maybe it can blow some sense into his pedantic head. It was not until the security guards on patrol at the school drove Song Lian away. The next day, Song Lian didn't show up. Instead, his mother came to make a scene. She said that he had wasted so many years for me, and now he was already 30 years old. If he didn't get married soon, I would make the Song family have no descendants. If you want to have a baby, go find someone else. The bloodline of your Song family has nothing to do with me at all. Looking at my indifferent and tough attitude, Song Lian's mother burst into tears. I misjudged you. I thought you were an honest person. It turns out that you've always looked down on our Song Lian. You have no ability at all, yet you have such lofty ambitions. I'll just wait and see who will marry an old maid like you. Without our Song Lian, who would want you? Just as she finished speaking, Lin Jiaxi poked his head in from outside the door. Guan Yu, would you do me the honor of going to the movies with me tonight? Song Lian's mother's face froze. She mumbled something in her throat for a long time, then suddenly slapped her thigh. You're that gigolo, you're breaking up a family. Lin Jiaxi gave a cold snort. Watch your mouth. I just beat up Song Lian yesterday. Don't push me to hit you too. I don't have the rule of not hitting women. When Lin Jiaxi was young, he had a bit of a ruffian air. He was half a head taller than Song Lian. He wore a green military uniform, with his sleeves rolled up to his shoulders, revealing his well-defined muscles. Song Lian's mother shrank her neck. Son, don't be deceived by her, she's already 30 years old this year. She's been married and has even given birth to 2 sons, Lin Jiaji said. So what? I just like women older than me. Mom, stop making a scene. Song Lian's face was deathly pale. He stumbled in and dragged his mother away. He took a hasty glance at me and shed tears. Guan Yu, since you want to choose him, I'll let you have your way. After the mother and son left, I turned around helplessly and looked at Lin Jiaji. What are you getting involved for? Did you do it on purpose to make Song Lian angry? Lin Jiaji raised his chin. Yeah, I want to make him mad. I was silent for a moment and felt that I still needed to explain. I haven't given birth to any children. Lin Jiaji's eyes lit up, and the smile on his lips gradually widened. I don't care, Guan Yu. I interrupted him. I think there are some parts of that thesis you wrote that don't seem right. I understood what Lin Jiaji meant. But I don't have the time now, nor the energy to spare for romantic affairs. Lin Jiaji lowered his eyes in disappointment. Okay, we'll talk about it later then, half out of disappointment and half as revenge on me. After that, Song Lian quickly married a girl from the city. She had a good family background and was also very pretty. A year passed, and the 2 of them had a lovely son. Song Lian regained some of his vitality and deliberately showed off his son in front of me by holding him. Guan Yu, when are you and Lin Jiaji going to get married? At that time, I was already studying for a doctorate at Huaqing University. However, Song Lian didn't keep up with the rhythm of his previous life. The girl from the city also had a decent job and refused to give up her golden for the sake of the child. She went to and from work as usual and completely left the child to Song Lian's mother. Song Lian's mother's headache flared up again, and the whole family was in chaos. Since there was really no one to take care of the child, Song Lian could only take care of the child while going to work, so naturally, he didn't have extra time to read books. His plan to pursue a doctorate was delayed. Song Lian didn't care too much. It was just a delay of 2 or 3 years, and it didn't matter much. After he graduated, he successfully stayed on as a teacher at the university. Now he was a lecturer at Huaqing University. And his starting point was much higher than in his previous life. At worst, he would just follow the original path again. He could afford to wait. He didn't know what kind of whirlpool those trivial family matters and everyday nuisances could drag a person into. At this moment, he was still full of enthusiasm and thought he was a winner. You're not young anymore either. You should urge him. If it's a few years later, you won't even be able to have a child. I buried my head in writing notes. He went to pick up his girlfriend to go to the movies, Lin Jiaji, and I have no relationship at all. Song Lian was greatly surprised. You're not together. That's not right. I heard Lin Jiaji say that he has feelings for you. Yes, I rejected him. I'm focused on my studies now and don't have the time to think about other things. Song Lian opened his eyes wide, looking completely puzzled. Wait, Guan Yu. I really don't understand you anymore. Why are you doing this? You're a woman. Don't you want a family, children, or even a lover? Without being loved, how lonely and solitary your life will be. I stopped writing and looked at him seriously. Does a woman have to have love? From childhood to adulthood, all the films, TV works, novels, and the social atmosphere have been instilling this proposition in women. Little girls grow up with the longing for a Prince Charming. But the dreams of little boys are to go on adventures, to explore the distant stars and the vast sea. But why? Is love really that important for women? Without love, can't a woman find self-consistency, have an independent and complete inner core, and can't she live a peaceful and happy life alone? I married for love. I loved Song Lian my whole life. To be fair, Song Lian also loved me. Did I gain happiness? His love meant that I had to bear children for him, take care of the household, leave my familiar family and come to a completely strange family, smooth out my edges and corners, and get covered in blood and scars to fit in with them. Compared with most women, I've already had a relatively good life, but I'm still not happy. Only those who benefit from the existing situation will keep promoting it, making you make choices that are beneficial to them. Why do I have to abide by this game rule? Song Lian was stunned for a moment, and then he showed his familiar sneer. Without love, what should a woman want? Power, status, money, and reputation. These are what women have been lacking the most for thousands of years. I also sneered. Forget it, you won't understand even if I tell you. I'm going to study abroad for a few years. We probably won't see each other again in the future. I walked a long way. Song Lian was still holding the child, looking dazed and frozen in place. when I returned after completing my studies abroad. In just 2 years, I overcame a technical problem and won a national award. In the same year, I joined the Chinese Academy of Sciences and won a large number of international honors. At that time, I was just over 40 years old. A woman at 40 is like a flower, but Song Lian had already been worn out like rotten bean curd. He was exhausted from being tormented by his 2 sons and had long given up the idea of studying. He was still a lecturer, but he often made mistakes. The school leaders talked to him several times, saying that if he continued to mislead students like this, he should be transferred to an idle position in the office. When he was so scolded that he couldn't lift his head, there was a commotion in the office. The office director rushed out in one stride and shook my hand warmly. "Professor Guan, oh, didn't we agree that I would send someone to pick you up at the airport at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Why did you come here yourself? It's all the same, it's also convenient for me to drive." I smiled politely. When I turned my head, I saw Song Lian with a pale face, shrugging his shoulders and trying his best to make himself disappear. "Mr. Song is here too." The director was surprised. "Do you know each other?" I nodded. "Yes, we're old acquaintances." The director smiled. "I see, Mr. Song, then let's have a casual dinner together tonight. We're going to give Professor Guan a welcome dinner. From this year on, she will be the honorary professor of our school." Song Lian's eyes shook, and his lips trembled slightly. He stared at me, unable to say a word for a long time. After a while, he embarrassedly lowered his head. "No need, I still have to pick up my 2 sons from school today." Another day, another day. Song Lian stumbled out of the office. The director curled his lips behind him. "He's so unrefined. A grown man has been dragged down like this by family matters. Not to mention, the wife he married she's really nice. I know her. She's a very nice person and has a strong sense of ambition in her work. It's taken for granted that a woman is burdened by her family. When these trivial matters fall on a man, everyone will feel sorry for him and blame that woman. But what's her fault? She's just doing what all men would do." The director forced a smile and agreed. Since even Professor Guan approves, she should indeed be very good. Haha. On the day I won the Nobel Prize, the school held a very grand press conference. I sat on the stage. Song Lian's family sat in the audience. Song Lian's mother looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "What's so great about her? She's old and still unwanted." Song Lian's 2 sons retorted. "Grandma, are you crazy? At her level, what man is worthy of her?" Song Lian's mother snorted angrily. "What level? I used to ask her to wash the dishes and clothes, and she didn't dare to say a word. She wouldn't dare to go right when I told her to go left. You must be suffering from dementia. Dad, take Grandma to the hospital for a checkup." Song Lian's mother was extremely angry. "How can you 2 talk to Grandma like that? You've been spoiled by your mother. You're not good at studying. You can't even get into an ordinary high school. My previous grandson graduated from Huaqing University. Do you even deserve to be called Balan and Bowen? You 2 are good for nothings." Song Lian's wife wasn't going to put up with her. She immediately retorted. "What do you mean I spoiled them? Mom, you can't be so ungrateful. Didn't my mom take care of you when you had a stroke a few years ago? How can you be so ungrateful?" It seemed that the 2 sides were about to start arguing again. People in the audience all looked at them, and the security guards also walked in this direction. Song Lian blushed with embarrassment. "Stop making a racket. What kind of place is this? If you keep arguing, get out of here." Finally, it quieted down. Song Lian raised his head and looked at me under the spotlight. There were faint tears in his eyes. When it came to the audience's question and answer session, Song Lian couldn't wait to stand up and grab the microphone. "Guan Yu. Professor Guan, I want to ask you." Song Lian's gaze circled around his 2 sons and then he asked me with a hint of relief, "Do you think your life is complete? Aren't you really regretful that you didn't get married in this life and don't have your own children to carry on your legacy?" I raised my head and looked at the bright red banner hanging above the auditorium. "Warmly congratulate Chinese scientist Guan Yu on winning the Nobel Prize." Chinese scientist, Guan Yu. I curved my lips. "Yes, I don't have my own children, but I have them." I stretched out my hand and pointed to the audience. Most of them were students majoring in my field. They read the books I wrote, the papers I wrote, and listened to my lectures. They don't look like me, but they think like me. I don't have children to inherit my genes, but I have students to inherit my thoughts. In the long river of time, genes may be interrupted, but brilliant civilizations will last forever. My life is very fulfilling. Thunderous applause rang out in the auditorium. It lasted for a long time. Epilogue 1. I walked out of the hotel arm in arm with my young boyfriend and accidentally bumped into Song Lian. Song Lian was stunned for a few seconds, his eyes full of disbelief. Didn't you say that you don't need love? I shrugged. Not having men in my eyes doesn't mean not having men by my side. Now that my career has reached its peak, the tight string in me has relaxed. It's understandable to have some entertainment. I'm just an ordinary person and also have worldly physical desires. Don't expect me to be a saint just because I've achieved great success in my career. The path that successful women walk is already difficult enough. Don't forcefully add moral labels to us. A look of being deceived flashed across Song Lian's face. How can you be so shameless? You're corrupting public morals. You. Before he could finish speaking, several security guards rushed over nervously. Professor Guan, are you okay? Who is this person? Do you want us to drive him away? I nodded indifferently. He's a crazy fan. Song Lian was quickly dragged away. His thoughts were really ridiculous. When a man reaches the peak of power and becomes an emperor with 3,000 concubines in his harem, no one will accuse him of corrupting public morals. Why can't a woman do the same? This is the old society's discipline for women. I took care of the household affairs, took care of Song Lian's sick mother, and raised 2 children. I look forward to the day when everyone takes this as a matter of course. Epilogue 2. When I was invited to give a lecture at a certain university, I met a very enthusiastic student. Her name was Zhou Hafeng. She was so excited that she waved her arms and pushed through the crowd to get in front of me, asking me to sign her notebook. Professor Guan, you have such a good temperament. I was completely mesmerized when I listened to your lecture. What you said was so great. Zhou Hafeng's face was flushed, and she boldly joked, if you were a man, I really want to marry you. The young girl's eyes were shining brightly, full of admiration and longing. I took her notebook and shook my head with a smile. Don't marry me, be me. The essence of a girl's admiration for the strong is also a longing for power and success. But the social discipline that exists everywhere from childhood to adulthood makes them only want to be the ones illuminated by the moonlight. They never think that when the light shines on you, you can indeed be seen, but when the light moves away, you have nothing. You should become the moon. Zhou Hafeng was stunned and looked down at the name on the notebook in a daze. Guan Yu.